Another outstanding target on the outside. They love these big physical wide receivers, but really, to me, Steve, the best player on the field tonight will be David Montgomery, number 32, the back for Iowa State. You see him here against an outstanding Iowa defense. He made them look silly all game long. He is big, 5'11", 220 pounds. He's built like Saquon Barkley. And you see here at the end of this run, he's running over Josey Jewell.
Yep.
Okay, Josey Jewell is an All-American linebacker. I can't wait to see David Montgomery play in this game.
Park told us they haven't clicked yet. I mean, how many points are they going to score when they do click? Todd McShay is like our American Express card. We never travel without him. Down to the field, here's McShay.
Wait a second. Who's Todd McShay? I'm Laura Rutledge, and I'm here every Thursday night. Guys, I don't know where we got this confused. Like, what, excuse me, I'm trying to do a job here.
All right, go get him.
What? What's going on here, guys? All right, well, as Todd McShay gets out of here, let me just tell you about who is going to be on the field, guys. Shane Buechele will start at quarterback for the Texas Longhorns. Tom Herman said his bruised throwing shoulder hasn't limited him in practice this week. His arm looks 100%. Buechele has said it takes him a little longer to get warmed up, though, and Herman says they'll monitor him throughout this game. It's his game, though, until he struggles or feels pain, and they may have a shorter leash than you would expect because of how well Sam Ehlinger looked against USC, completing 70% of his passes. But guys, nothing scripted for Ehlinger to get in.
All right, Laura, thank you, and sincerely, we apologize about the confusion with the personnel. That was actually...
Well, Todd got the quick hook. Maybe the Texas quarterbacks won't get the quick hook, but he did.
That was quite embarrassing.
Whoa. Laura kicked me off the field. I got nowhere to watch this.
You can hang out with us, man.
Oh, thanks,
you
guys. You guys are
I'll
all
show you
right.
what it's like up here. It's not all fun and games in the booth like it is on the field.
Where's the AC you normally have?
No air conditioning here. It will get cool tonight. We expect temperatures to dip into the 60s, which will be nice for everyone concerned. Laura mentioned the short leash for the quarterback. Interesting. Tom Herman said he had a tough decision to make early in the week.
Yeah, certainly a tough decision, but you know, I think it doesn't matter which quarterback ends up playing. I think they're both a similar skill set. Offense will be the same, Todd.
Yeah, the offensive line is going to be key. They're going to have to out-scheme Iowa State in this game if they're going to stay in it. Iowa State scoring so many points. I think we're in for a dogfight tonight.
And we are underway. Texas won the toss deferred. Iowa State will receive, and Landon Akers will take a knee. And we'll see the Cyclones with their new helmets, special for tonight for Thursday Night Football under the light. And there's a look at Jacob Park. He is nothing if not entertaining, and he's got the big arm.
He does. That's the first thing that jumped out to me. We're in the booth now. Now we're talking over each other. We don't on the field, but the first thing was the ability to drive the ball down the field. I love their offensive scheme. They take advantage of the entire field, and he has the arm to drive it vertically when they want to.
Again, they have scored 40 or more in every single game. They've never done it 4 games in a row. As they open up first down and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Park out of the shotgun as David Montgomery to the right. They fake to Montgomery, and Park will put it in the air. Loft one down the sideline. Was looking to connect with Trevor Ryan. Deshaun Elliott was with him step for step on the coverage.
You know, it's a big game for Jacob Park. Last year, he was late getting to Iowa State, didn't have a whole lot of reps in preseason camp. Finally started to come on at the end of last year. He was splitting reps with Joel Lanning. And now this is his team. It's his opportunity to shine. He's been fantastic through 3 games, but tonight, a bigger test against this Texas defense.
Second down and 10. It's his team, and it's his hair, as you can see. He's got some salad flowing underneath that helmet. Here's Montgomery, the first big gain of the night. He's close to the first down marker. So stumbled just shy, bring up a 3rd and short.
I know you both scoffed at me when I said this kid had talent kind of on the level of Saquon Barkley. Now, he's not Saquon Barkley, okay?
All right, I'm glad you...
But he has the same size. He has that strength, the vision, and the speed. I think
and he can catch the ball and block like Barkley does.
On 3rd down and 1. Send Ryan in motion, top of your screen. They fake to Montgomery. And Park's going to be dropped by Poona Ford and Deshaun Elliott. Everyone expected a monster night out of Poona Ford, and he starts big there.
Ford is the best player on a really talented Texas defense. Number 95 in the middle of the field. You're going to watch him all night long. This guy is a nightmare for offensive linemen. Iowa State, I suspect, is going to try to double team him a lot more than they did there. Does a great job with that first step inside move. He's tough.
6 feet, 305 pounds. He's low to the ground. You know, he gets that leverage and tough to keep out of the backfield.
Colin Downing from his own 15 will put it in the air. Amani Foreman is back out at the 29, and there's a flag. We'll check the marker after the 42-yard punt. Talk to me, Scott Campbell, our referee.
During the kick, holding, number 18, return team. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the kick. First down, Texas.
With that, we'll say hi to Texas quarterback Shane Buechele. Must feel like an eternity since he played, since that Maryland loss. His dad, of course, is an 11-year big leaguer, current Texas Rangers bench coach. Grew up in a family of Oklahoma fans. Whoa, what's going on there? And is a team champion ping pong player. Hey, the kid's an athlete. He can do everything, and that includes ping pong.
We'll see how he responds, right? Last time he was on the field, they lost to Maryland. He gets hurt. And then this young true freshman, Sam Ehlinger, comes in, plays pretty gritty in the SC, almost upsets them on the road. You see young Sam there. So a little pressure on Shane Buechele. We mentioned that a little bit might be a little bit of a shorter hook. That's what his head coach says. If he doesn't play well, it's a lot of pressure.
Herman wanted to make it very clear Buechele did not lose that game against Maryland. They had a ton of other issues. Handoff to Kyle Porter. And maybe a yard on the play before J.D. Wagner came up to make the stop.
This is going to be a big key in the game, I think, Brian. Texas has got to be able to run the football and take some pressure off Buechele and the passing game, where they're struggling to protect right now with all the injuries they've had along the offensive line.
Yeah, their left tackle, the All-American Connor Williams, out for the season. They lost Elijah Rodriguez as well as Andrew Becht, who was a blocking tight end. They've lost quite a bit. Patrick Hudson, they're a patchwork offensive line right now.
All by himself is Buechele to throw on second down. The quick screen out into the flat to Lorenzo Joe, and he is swung around for a loss. Mike Warren making the tackle.
And this is the situation that Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator for Texas, does not want to be in, especially early in this game. Get this crowd at Ames into the game, 3rd and long, backed up situation with an offensive line that struggled in pass pro.
3rd and 9, getting loud. They've set a record for consecutive crowds over 50,000 here at Jack Trice. Here's Buechele, good pocket for him. Has plenty of time, directing traffic, and now he's tripped up, dropped at the 15 to the fumble. The ball comes out. Jaquan Bailey put the pressure on and dropped him, and then Buechele coughed it up. And Texas has recovered. Zach Shackelford fell on top of the football, so they'll bring it up 4th down.
And nowhere to go. They decide to rush 3. This ball clearly comes out. He's just trying to put it away. And Shackelford, as you mentioned, Steve, heads up play to get on the ball.
There's a flag down on the field as well.
Not the kind of start that Texas wanted to have offensively, obviously. This offense has sputtered in the last 2 weeks.
After the play was over, sportsmanlike conduct, number 19, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That's number 19's first on sportsmanlike conduct foul for the game.
That's Jaquan Bailey, the sophomore from Jacksonville, Florida, so we'll watch for that.
Oh, well, Bailey was the one that was chasing Buechele. He ultimately got the sack.
What a huge mistake.
Oh.
And I was going to say outstanding defense by Iowa State, because Buechele had all the time. The coverage must have been outstanding, and they still can't make anything out of it.
Well, with Jaquan Bailey, they need him. You know, they don't have a whole lot of studs on the defensive line, does Iowa State. And see if we can see what happened after he got the sack.
So Texas doesn't have to punt. They get a fresh set of downs on 1st down and 10. We'll take the 15 yards as well. It's a gain of 6 to Chris Warren.
Boy, he just did like a little roll there, right? But it's so long after the play's over. I think that's what the official is sensitive to. Wasn't egregious, but it's not necessary. It's just maturity.
Come on, man. It's college kids on a Thursday night having a good time.
Oh, come on, man, already.
Little somersault. Don't get off my lawn, Greasy. Come on. Second down and 5. It's back to the line of scrimmage. They're bringing the third down.
A big break for Texas. And now if you're Shane Buechele, it's gift wrap for you. Third manageable situation here.
We'll see if they defensively, Iowa State shifts it up and tries to bring a little pressure here. Although last time they rushed 3, dropped 8. Really gave Buechele a tough time. Couldn't find anyone open.
It looks like rush 3 again here, Todd.
And here they come. It is just the 3. And again, you would expect that. Buechele would have all sorts of time. Time for a cup of coffee. Pumps and goes. And the throw, and it is caught for first down yardage. Armani Foreman took the big pop, hung onto the football, moves the chains, gain of 11 on the play.
That penalty hurt him, Todd, but they didn't have Bailey on the field to rush in the 3-down situation, so they couldn't get any pressure.
And great protection there. I thought he had Foreman open earlier, could have gone to him earlier in the play, but gets him in time.
Out, 1st and 10, out about near midfield. They'll put it on the ground to Chris Warren. And he goes across into Cyclones territory. Joel Lanning, the middle linebacker, made the stop for Iowa State.
I was really excited about watching David Montgomery play, but I'm equally as excited to watch Joel Lanning play. For those that don't know, he was the quarterback of this team, starting quarterback a year ago. They bring in Jacob Park, and he threw the ball a little bit better, but Joel Lanning was an emotional leader for this team. He was Land Ram was his nickname, right? He was the battering ram from quarterback. They asked him to play middle linebacker, and he says, whatever you need, coach. It's unbelievable.
Here's Kyle Porter on the ground for a couple. Lanning makes the stop, and you've seen quarterbacks change positions, but maybe to a safety.
Yeah,
not the middle linebacker.
And he hadn't played linebacker since he was in 8th grade. So you're talking about a huge transition, a position he hadn't played in so long. Really a selfless move. They knew that he was one of the 2 best players that they had on the team. Just so happened that Park, the quarterback, was the other one. And so they wanted to get him on the field, and he did this simply for his football team. Really impressed. 3rd
down and 5 upcoming. And they're bringing pressure this time, bringing 6. And that allows the underneath to be open to little Jordan Humphrey. Humphrey's across the 30. And Humphrey has them in excellent field position. Everett Edwards eventually brought him down, but Lil Jordan Humphrey on the big play, gain of 28.
Great recognition by Shane Buechele. He sees the double-edge pressure, knows he's got to get the ball out of his hand quick. Just give your playmakers an opportunity, and Reggie Wilkerson there, the safety, number 3, misses that tackle. Give Humphrey credit. You got to make a play for your quarterback against the blitz.
Here's Texas on the move now inside the red zone. Hand off to Kyle Porter. And he's down to the 15-yard line. Last thought on the Lanning story, and again, it's hard to get away from it. Nowadays, a quarterback loses his job. They can't wait to transfer.
Right.
That's it. Peace out. I'm out of here. But it speaks to how much Lanning loves the system, the program here, and really all of Ames.
Well, we were talking to their defensive coordinator, John Haycock, and he said, we didn't just ask him to come over and play linebacker. We asked him to come over and be the quarterback of our defense, which is a completely different animal. 2nd
down and 6 is the 11th play of the drive, again aided by the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. It's Warren, stopped by Ray Lima. And the other thing is, they said they couldn't hide him on defense, but it's like being the quarterback. You got guys coming at you from your right, from your left, looking to take your head off. Yeah. At the middle linebacker spot, same way as a quarterback.
Well, the ISO block alone would prevent 99.9% of quarterbacks moving there.
Imagine saying, yes, Greasy. Hey, Grease, we're going to need you to play middle linebacker at Michigan. Right in, Chris Warren, right through Lanning and that defense, touchdown. And the key play on that drive will be the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Jaquan Bailey. Warren scores, Texas draws first blood.
And talking with Tom Herman, they said their most important factor for them coming into this game was running the football. They didn't have enough consistency running the football. They take advantage of that penalty. They get a big 3rd down conversion from the quarterback, and then they finally run the football in the red zone.
Here's Josh Rowland. Field goals have been an issue. Just 1 of 4 on the season, but he's been perfect on point afters. 11 yards on the score. They go 12 plays, 81 yards, and 627. And again, the unsportsmanlike conduct was the key. Leading to this Chris Warren touchdown. It's 7-0 Texas. Cyclones football when we come back. Back in Ames, Iowa, Jaquan Bailey still feeling the effects of that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that allowed Texas to continue their drive and in the end score on the Chris Warren touchdown. 7-0 Longhorns. Landon Akers will look to get the Cyclones some good field position. Instead, he'll take a knee in the end zone. And Iowa State will get the football for the second time. I mentioned the salad and the flow of Jacob Park over the years. Here he is, high school student, Goose Creek, South Carolina. And then at Georgia, the medium hair and the hairband there. And then this was the start of the season. McShay might want to think to go that way. No?
It's a rough period.
Business in front, party in back.
And when we saw him yesterday, so he's got the flow flying out of the helmet. And if he takes off and runs.
I don't think I've seen Levy talk more about another guy's hair
than this week.
Yeah, than this week.
I don't know. Last week with the mullet.
We had Gundy last week.
Yeah, maybe it's an obsession.
Good hair, people. All right, on 1st down and 10. Here's David Montgomery. And he gets pushed back. We'll give him 4 on that first carry. And is that how you come to work? Yes, sir.
Why not?
Yes, sir. There's a man who's full of confidence.
It was interesting talking to him yesterday at practice. You know, he just had a baby girl maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah. He's had to mature. He wasn't, you know, self-proclaimed he wasn't the most mature guy when he was at Georgia, but he's a leader of this team now.
Hand off to Montgomery. Cuts to the left, trying to turn the corner, and he will. Deshaun Elliott able to force him out. Gain of 7, though. And there's an injured Longhorn down.
Looks like Brandon Jones, the safety, came up with the outside trying to get Montgomery on the ground. And Texas is pretty deep at the safety position. You know, Deshaun Elliott is their other starting safety. John Bonney plays quite a bit at that position, as well as Jason Hall. So they're deep at safety.
Jones has played all 15 career games. Looks to continue in this one when we come back in obvious pain. Watch 19, Brandon Jones. He's the player who's injured. Alan Lazard, you want your wide receivers to block, and he does.
It's a clean block. Got his head across. Didn't hit him in the head or neck area. It's a good, clean block. Hopefully it didn't injure Jones, just kind of take his breath away.
And John Bonney has checked in to replace Jones. Bonney's a junior out of Houston who's had a lot of experience, played in 27 career games. 1st down and 10. And Park to throw. And airmails one, sails it over the head of Matthew Eaton. Bring up a 2nd and 10.
So far, the pass rush for Texas has really been there for them. They're getting some push up front. They're doing a good job of getting the quarterback and affecting Park in terms of what he's doing with his progression moves.
In Iowa State, they have a young, inexperienced offensive line. Texas look to take advantage of that. On 2nd down and 10. Park again to throw. This one is right on the money. Able to hit Lazard, and he has 1st down yardage. First catch of the night for Alan Lazard. Gain of 10 on the play, and he's the star wide receiver on this team.
Yeah, and if they get him going, and Jacob Park is a streaky player, you know, if he gets that rhythm, feels comfortable in the pocket, these 2 guys can really make you pay. It's just a simple slant route. You see the accurate throw, that's a 1st down.
4 receivers in the game. Park takes a look to his left.
This offense wants to go fast. They get that 1st down, and they want to keep the same personnel on the field for Texas.
Here comes the blitz from the blind side. They're going to get to him. Everybody got home for Texas that time, led by Nashawn Hughes. They're able to sack Park, bring up a 3rd and long.
There's Nashawn Hughes and P.J. Locke Todd Orlando brings both of them from the outside, and this is the area of the game that I think Jacob Park needs to continue to grow, is getting rid of the football, knowing when pressure's coming, where are his answers against the blitz, and getting the ball out.
Second down and 15.
And he knows where he wants to go with the ball. His first read's available. That's when he's at his best, because he's got a hose, and he can put that ball anywhere.
But Todd Orlando, a defensive coordinator, he's not going to let him do that.
Park got it away with just 1 second on the play clock. Throwing on the run, and let's see. John Bonney had the coverage replacing Jones, and good coverage there on the play. 3rd and 15 upcoming.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Bonney, a very experienced player. He knows this defense inside and out. Even though Todd Orlando is, in his first year, he's got a little bit more of a complicated scheme. Comes over from Houston. This defense doesn't quite have the personnel that he had at Houston. He's had to adapt the way that he plays defense, but he'll get there. He'll mold this Texas defense in his image.
There's 3rd and 15. Park steps up and throws, and it's a little low. DeShante Jones couldn't pick it off the turf, and it'll bring up a 4th down.
A little low or a little high.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
It was high for the first guy, low for the second.
It depends who he was throwing to.
Normally you don't want to throw it in the middle. Right?
I'm sure maybe they're not sure. They're talking about it as well.
Well, when he misses, watching him in practice and watching his game feel, when Park misses, he misses high because he doesn't stride with that front foot.
Colin Downing to punt it away. Got it off. Foreman is waiting for it. The fair catch at the 20. Iowa State looking for a flag, I think, after the 39-yard punt. And there is no dirty laundry on the field. We'll step out with 4.5 to play in the first quarter. Iowa State finds themselves trailing by a touchdown.
Thursday night college football, brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Our ops producer, Paul Kucharski, riding his bike around campus with the Ames Bellow Club. Club participates in local and regional charity rides as well as races throughout the Midwest. You couldn't see me. I was behind Kucharski, getting my ride in there. There's Devin Duvernay.
Chewing gum, too.
So they've got this hill. That's a sort of Williamsport Little League World Series feel to it.
It's the guys in the back here, though.
Not a great view, though.
Back corner, you can't see. If they get past the 30, it's out of view. Move up.
It's all about the kids rolling down the hill up there.
Right.
Come on.
I wonder if they charge for those tickets. On 2nd and 4, Kyle Porter. And he will lunge forward but come up short. Lanning and Spears bringing him down shy of the first down. And
this is a more manageable situation. This is what Tom Herman and the coaching staff for Texas wants to do. Get a little bit on the ground, work the short game, and put Michelle in a situation where he can succeed on 3rd down.
interesting signals there. As Kyle Porter, he has stood up at the line. Marcel Spears and Reggie Wilkerson. But we'll see where they mark the forward progress. I think they're going to give him the first down.
Wow.
That's close.
Well, if he got the first down, it was all effort. There were 3 Iowa State defenders in the line of him getting that first down. Yeah, I think that's because he did get over the 30-yard line.
First down and 10. Out just shy of the 31. Michelle on the money to Dorian Leonard. And Leonard is dropped, but he will have first down yardage. Again, it's Lanning who made the stop. Gain of 10 on that play.
Starting to get a little bit of rhythm here with Buechele. Throwing the ball on first down, that's always a good sign that a coordinator, a play caller, is confident in his quarterback.
Buechele in the game throwing is 5 for 5. Give all the credit on that first scoring drive in the run game, but Buechele has done what he's needed to. Outside of that little fumble, that one was recovered. Nearly intercepted. DeMonte Ruth had the coverage. It was in and out of his hands.
So DeMonte Ruth is starting this game because DeAndre Payne, the starting corner #1, is out with a hamstring. So Ruth has been thrust into service. He's not the biggest, 5'10", 170 pounds, but he's quick, and he almost baited Buechele into an interception.
They were down 2 players in the secondary, Kamari Cotton-Moya and DeAndre Payne. But Cotton-Moya returning for this one. Here's Warren as he gets real close to midfield. Ruth and Lanning again on the tackle, and it'll bring up a 3rd down.
Nice job by Jake McMillan, the guard, and the rest of the interior offensive line, opening more holes tonight than we've seen from this Texas offense, and its offensive line specifically so far this season.
Texas so far in the game, 4 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. Here's 3rd and 2. They make it 5 for 5 as Warren somersaults forward, and he's got the 1st down as we approach 2 minutes left in this 1st quarter.
Yeah, I think we talked about the fact that they don't have DeAndre Payne, their starting corner, and John Haycock, the defensive coordinator for Iowa State, would love to play some man coverage and stack the box to stop this run game. But when you do that, you're going to put guys like DeMonte Ruth out on an island, Brian Peavy, against these big wide receivers for Texas. It's kind of a catch-22 situation right now.
On 1st down and 10. Hand off to Warren. Loose football, it's out, and it's Ruth who's recovered it. Texas tries to get tricky, and they get burned.
Well, if you're Chris Warren, you can't do that, right? If you have a reverse and it gets blown up, just eat the ball. Don't try to throw it to a guy when...
Someone who's not used to passing it off and handing it to somebody else. And we saw it last week in our game at Oklahoma State where they threw the ball where it really didn't need to. And there, Warren clearly should have understood that this play is over at this point and just, like you said, eat it.
And give some credit to J.D. Wagoner, the defensive end, for coming back and forcing the issue. But part of that is coaching too. You know, you say, listen, I'm going to give the ball to somebody I trust, and I'm going to coach him. If it's not there, you eat it.
Turnovers have been an issue for Texas. That's their 7th of this young season. And Jacob Park comes out firing and hitting. Marchie Murdoch has 1st down yardage. And just when Texas was starting to roll for another score, Iowa State will take over, and they do so in Longhorns territory. Gain of 10 on that play. Final minute and a half of this 1st quarter. Here's Park to throw. Good protection. Trying to go down the sideline for Murdoch again. Holton Hill had the coverage. And the crowd roaring for a penalty they won't get.
Clearly, they like this matchup of Murdoch on Hill. Now, Hill has played well so far this season. Murdoch's got some speed. I think that's a good no call. Looks like he tackled him at the end, but the ball was already past him.
2nd down and 10. That's Montgomery to the left of Jacob Park, and Montgomery has the football. Trying to hit his hole. Stopped by Malik Jefferson. We send it down to Laura.
Steve, we see Texas safety Brandon Jones back in the game. He is dealing with a rib injury. The Texas athletic trainers said he was good to go back in the game, but he does have some pain that he's working through.
Thank you, Laura. McShay, that's how that's done, by the way, just so you know.
I'm learning. Have I done an injury report all year?
Injuries? What injuries? Everybody's hurt out there, right?
3rd and 7. Iowa State looking to convert. Here's Texas with pressure, and the quick pass batted up in the air, and it will fall away. Nashawn Hughes got the hand up to deflect the football. Bring up a 4th down.
Nice design there from Todd Orlando on 3rd down. Brings a pressure, and then he drops Nashawn Hughes out in the route to get underneath.
Any decision here, fellas? 4th and 7.
See this pressure here, and then you're going to get a dropper right underneath. There, Hughes just on the end of the line. This is the kind of stuff he did at Houston, Todd. He had really creative defenses, a lot of different hybrid types that you can blitz or drop, and it confuses quarterbacks.
And Iowa State is punting. Colin Downing. And formal call for the fair catch. And Texas will take over at the 11-yard line. Kick off your weekend. Big-time college football doubleheader. Tomorrow night, we'll have number 14 Miami taking on Duke at 7 Eastern. Then it's a Pac-12 showdown. Sam Darnold, the 5th-ranked USC. They'll take on 16th-ranked Washington State. As always, both games streaming live on the ESPN app.
That's a great Friday night.
Oh my gosh.
You know, you don't know how that schedule is going to turn out.
Right.
Those Thursday and Friday is set maybe years in advance. And we stepped into a good doubleheader tomorrow
That
night.
Miami-Duke game, remember the 8 lateral
Yes.
Miami victory?
Yes.
I think Duke won't want to get them back for that one last time they were in Durham.
Should be a great doubleheader. College football tomorrow night. Final half minute of this first quarter. Texas will keep it on the ground with Chris Warren and another tackle for Joel Lanning. We'll see if that does it for the quarter.
I'm a little surprised that they punted there.
Yeah.
Not a bad call. It makes a lot of sense. Let's not give Texas a chance to start going on offense again. But this is an offensive team for Iowa State. It wouldn't have surprised me at all if they decided to go for it, even though it was, what, 4th and 7?
Yeah, but that part of the field, I was wondering myself the same thing. And that will do it. I believe she was wondering as well. I can't believe they punted the football. That's what she Maybe things will be better in the second quarter. After one from Ames. 7-0 Longhorns. Touchdown on their very first drive. After the game tonight, make sure you watch SportsCenter at night with my pals Butchie and Anderson. They'll have a complete breakdown of our game, all the best from Major League Baseball's playoff races, the latest college football and NFL news, plus everything else. SportsCenter at night next on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app as we welcome you back to Ames for quarter number 2. Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, and the Thursday night staple that is Laura Rutledge. It's Buechele on the run, and he is slammed around and spun down. Jamal Johnson made the stop.
That's the part of the game you see Sam Ehlinger there. That really Sam's a better runner, but Shane right now is a little bit better of a passer, and that's how Tom Herman explained it to us last night. Both are going to be part of this offense moving forward. It's just that Herman and Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, feel like Shane Buechele gives them a little bit better chance right now. And you know what? You shouldn't lose your job to injury, which I tend to agree with.
Buechele's all by himself in the backfield as Warren split out top of your screen, looking in that direction, and he will throw and complete. Able to hook up with Cade Brewer. Lanning makes the stop. We'll see where they spot the football.
That's a good recognition there from Shane Buechele, and Cade Brewer needs to be a bigger part of this offense. We mentioned they lost Andrew Beck, the tight end in camp, and Brewer's a true freshman, but he's got the size, 6'4", 230 pounds. He's not going to be an inline tight end that's going to be blocking. He's not going to be an H-back leading into the hole, but he is a good receiver, and he could be a complementary receiver in this offense.
They're going to check that spot.
When you run this route on a 3rd down especially, you need to make sure you get at least a yard beyond the sticks. That's what you're coached. Go beyond the sticks, and as a true freshman, he goes right to the sticks. And a nice job by Joel Lanning right on top of him. That's close.
Buechele is 6 of 7 on the night passing so far for 62 yards.
I think it's important to note the ruling on the field was a first down.
I thought he was short. Lanning making his 7th tackle already. We're a minute into the second quarter.
So cool.
7 tackles. This is a guy who was responsible for 5 touchdowns, the starting quarterback in 1 game last year, leading the team in tackles.
Oh, look at him. I mean, the recognition, I can't tell. It's like learning how to speak Chinese. You're going from offense to defense. Everything's different. And for him to be the play caller and the quarterback of that defense, it's pretty impressive. You know, and we were talking with Matt Campbell. He said that's the kind of unselfish behavior you can build a culture around. And there's 2 guys they've done that with, Lanning and David Montgomery on offense. And there's no 2 players that have helped change this culture for Matt Campbell more than those 2 guys.
The line was he played quarterback like a linebacker. They used to say that about Jim Kelly, too. Played quarterback like a linebacker.
Yeah, Jim McMahon. That's a nice saying.
Anybody ever say that about you?
Yeah, right.
I was still trying to figure out the spot of the football again. I thought he was just a little short. The yellow line. Iowa State 5-16 all-time in Big 12 openers. Texas, conversely, is 16-5 all-time Big 12 road openers. In a conference where there are 5 of the top 10 scoring teams in the nation, in Texas and Iowa State, they're not 2 of those 5. Again, our referee is Scott Campbell. Scott making his way out to the field.
After review, the ball carrier was short. The ball will be placed at the 21.5-yard line. 4th down.
There you go.
I think that was a good call.
I'm 1 for 1 for scoring at home.
Well, you clean your slate after every week, huh?
After every quarter.
Your bad decisions, your bad calls don't follow you week to week.
No, no. Take one game at a time, one quarter at a time. Texas forced to punt. And they will go 3 and out for the first time.
Well, Iowa State could really use some help in this game on special teams. Haven't talked a whole lot about it. Texas has been outstanding on special teams. Already have two special teams touchdowns on this young season. Maybe Alan Lazard can help him.
Michael Dixon from the 10 will put it in the air. Lazard will back up, keep backing up. What a punt that was, and calls for the fair catch at the 16. Michael Dixon, the junior from Sydney, Australia, put some air underneath that one. How about a 63-yard punt? We're back to Jack Trice Stadium.
No points on the board yet for this Iowa State offense, but their quarterback, Jacob Park, would like to see that change. He's had some of his offensive coaches trying to explain just exactly what Texas is doing defensively here on the sideline, because he's been a little confused, and he's admitted it. But you still see his confidence. He's going up to the entire offense saying, hey, guys, we shouldn't be confused by Texas. We should get something going here. He wants to make something happen on this drive. Guys, also, I heard you sent Todd back down here on the field. I got to find him. Give him a talking to.
Right now, he's a man, Laura, without a country. Marchie Murdoch on the receiving end, and Mike Warren has checked in for David Montgomery. Prior to that, Iowa State had just 33 total yards offense. They need to get something going.
Well, it shouldn't come as a shock. Texas is playing much better defensively. You know, everybody thinks, well, the Maryland game, but they played really good defense against SC, which is an explosive offense.
On 2nd down and 5. Now, that was a good ball. Park threw that into a tight window to Alan Lazard.
And I think, you know, if you're calling plays for Iowa State right now, you need to get your quarterback into a rhythm. Tom Manning, their offensive coordinator, you know, he's a little bit confused on the sideline. To me, that says get the ball out quick, throw it to the outside, get the ball in the hands of your playmakers like Lazard and Hakeem Butler, let him make a play.
1st down and 10. Here's Park. The quick throw to Trevor Ryan, and he'll get 4 on the play. So McShay's not in the booth anymore, and well, there he is.
It's kind of boring up there, to be honest. I thought it was going to be interesting, but I got bored, so I came back down here. I'm just hiding from Laura.
Keep your distance.
Got a lot more real estate to work with down there, too.
Nice.
2nd and 6 upcoming from the 34. Here's Park. Bit of a low snap for him. He'll try to get out of trouble and throw. And you see the arm strength. It was too strong for Marchie Murdoch. And good coverage there by Chris Boyd. Put the stick on. There's a flag on the play.
Holding, number 19, defense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Saw a little bit of the movement of Jacob Park. I'm interested, Todd, in what you see down there with his feet, his footwork. He's got a huge arm, right? But sometimes his feet get him into trouble.
Yeah, you're right. He's not striding and following through, so sometimes the release point is high and the ball is coming out high, and you see the end result. It's been very consistent. You pointed it out earlier in the game.
That holding was on Brandon Jones, by the way. And again, Laura mentioned earlier, he's back in the game. You can see he's playing with a big pad on the rib cage on the right side. Handoff to Mike Warren. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. Some sure-handed tackling led by P.J. Locke of Texas.
Texas has to be happy with the way that they've defended against the run early in this game. You know, only 71 yards on the ground against USC. That was the bugaboo in game 1 against Maryland. They gave up 260 plus.
2nd down and 9. Ball is batted in the air. Tipped up in the air by Nashawn Hughes. That's the 2nd time Hughes has deflected a pass away. He goes 6'4", 250, and he gets up and ruins that Jacob Park pass.
This is why defenses play a 3-4 defense, because they can confuse quarterbacks. You don't know if that guy's rushing or dropping. He drops right in the lane, and Jacob Park never saw him, as you mentioned, the 2nd time that's happened.
3rd down and 9. Out near the 45. Warren, the back out in motion, top of your screen. Here's Park. Texas rushing 3, no pressure. Park's going to take off. Fakes, now he'll tuck it down and gain a few. Malik Jefferson able to make the stop, bring up 4th down.
Yeah, nowhere to go with that football. I thought that Texas may have gotten away with a hold. Looked like he was looking in the slot. Take a look right here. That's Marchie Murdoch getting held by Chris Boyd. Boyd got away with one there.
Colin Downing with his 4th punt of the young night already. And it will go out of bounds. We'll step out. 11:01 left in this first half. Texas scored a touchdown on their opening drive. Goose egg sits.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football. Brought to you by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
Can you juggle? Seriously, can you juggle?
There we go.
No.
Okay.
I know you can, because you do
Some guys
Sports
can.
Center, right?
On the unicycle.
Next, you gotta turn around. We're
That's
gonna
a
say
part of the
3, 2,
juggling
1.
club here at Iowa State. They volunteer shows and events to teach kids. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the college football playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. There is no more passionate sports fan than the college football fan.
I would agree with that.
I cover all the sports groups. You only really cover one, you know, once in a while, a couple of months. I see them all.
You used to. You're not doing that right now.
College football fans.
Let me ask you about Major League Baseball. Can we go there?
Playoffs are coming up. Your Rockies are looking good. On 1st down and 10. It's Tennille Carter, his first carry of the game. We expected to see more of Carter. The true freshman, J.D. Wagner, made the stop.
Yeah, they're excited about Tennille Carter. 6 feet, 205 pounds. Brings a little bit more speed, a little bit more misdirection. Obviously, Chris Warren at 250 pounds and 6'4" is their sledgehammer, but they're excited about Carter.
So the promo, we have the American League wild card game coming up on ESPN. You'll have to go elsewhere for your Rockies playoff game.
Not there yet. We got to win a couple more.
Oh, you told me we're locked up. What do you mean? You told me we're all set. Colorado's good to go.
Couple more.
Gerard Hurd on the receiving end. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and short. Should there be a play-in game prior to the playoff game? That'll be played Monday, and you will see that on ESPN. Texas had terrible starting field position all night. Average starting position, the own 17. And on 3rd down and 1, Buechele trying to get there. And it is the 2nd effort that allows him to spin off a would-be tackler, Marcel Spears, and get the 1st down.
Yeah, great effort there from Buechele. That was Kamari Cotton-Moya, the senior captain, safety for Iowa State, that came up. You'll notice that Cotton-Moya has a brace on that right elbow. He hurt it in the Iowa game, hyperextended it, and you wonder if he's able to tackle as sure as he has been known over his career at Iowa State. Can't imagine that it's easy to tackle that big thing on your arm.
1st down and 10 now. Out at the 23. Off the low snap. Buechele looking to his left, and now we'll check it down to Tennille Carter, who will stumble forward for a few. And I bring up a 2nd down and long. Again, Carter gives them something they really don't have in the backfield. What is that? that twitch that we always hear about.
That shiftiness, right? Like just that speed to make a guy miss and go the distance. And every offensive coordinator wants that kind of back in their backfield, and Texas hasn't had that of late, and maybe the true freshman can give it to him.
Played in the San Jose State game, but didn't play in either of the other two. And there is Carter off the draw. Stopped by J.D. Wagner, Todd.
Deontay Foreman, remember, a year ago, it's a monster season for Texas, even though they struggled. And he wound up leaving early, the third-round pick of the Houston Texans. So they're a little bit behind in terms of where they want to be at the running back position, but this freshman looks like he's got a little bit of juice.
3rd and 4, he comes out. Buechel's all alone. Good protection. And it's caught for the short gain. Colin Johnson makes the catch. No, they're going to say it was incomplete. Could not hang on. That wouldn't have gotten the first down anyway.
Well, he was Brian Peavy. You got to give him credit. The corner, the senior captain, just kept fighting. Give a little bit of ground, let him complete that ball to the outside, and then after he throws it, come up and get your hands on that football, and he continues to fight. Colin Johnson, it's a difficult catch. Good defense.
Give John Eacock, the coordinator, some credit too. Really good job of mixing up coverages. He does a good job with this unit.
Michael Dixon, see what he's looking at. He'll put it in the air. Trevor Ryan will call for the fair catch, and an excellent pun drives Ryan all the way back to the 10. And that's where the Cyclones will take over after a 60-yard punt. Excellent punting tonight. It's 7-0.
Welcome back to Ames. A little bit different from Iowa State. When they're in a timeout, they kind of have their offensive line meets together. This is the quarterbacks. Here you see the running backs, and here's the wide receivers. I think the coaching, I don't see that very often in college football, but each coach is kind of giving the assignments and a heads up to their individual units. It's a nice way to get a lot of information in a short amount of time.
It's like they have position rooms in the facility. Yep. They got the place they stand on the field. Long pass coming out, starting from their own 11, and Parks on the money to Akeem Butler. Longest play of the night so far.
And that's the spark that you need. Iowa State offensively, they come in, they got a lot of confidence, scoring 40 points a game.
And they want to go fast after that gain of 23. Here's Park on the run, and he will throw, and I think he was throwing that away. Lazard was in the neighborhood. Bring up a 2nd down. There is a flag down.
There's no foul for eligible man downfield. 2nd down.
We'll pick that up and put it in our pocket.
Let's go back to that last pass play. It all starts with the protection here, and then look at the big hole in the middle of the field. That's a nice job by Jacob Park and the offensive line, giving some protection. Great pickup by the back. And if you give him that kind of space and that kind of time, he's got the arm to make you pay.
And Butler can do some things for you. David Montgomery checks in. He's bottom of your screen now, and he's the man in motion. Park fakes it to him. He'll roll to his right. He's being chased. Throw middle of the field. Too high, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Deshaun Elliott. And he will be dropped on the Iowa State side of the football. I mentioned Butler can do some things. Park was trying to get it to Butler, and an ill-advised pass.
Yeah, you have confidence as a quarterback, right? And you get outside the pocket, and you got to make a decision. And if you freeze it here, guys, you throw that ball down there. Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a window, but if you're not absolutely perfect, that ball is going to be intercepted. And those are the kinds of risks that as a quarterback you have to manage, especially backed up in your own. Let's take a look. Yeah, he catches that ball clear. Reception, his knee on the ground. Looks like it may have been.
So that'll negate the return, but Deshaun Elliott's got the good hands. That's his 3rd interception of the season. He was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week against USC. 7 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 he took to the house. Yeah. So he's an important and active member of that defense.
Well, and they've he came in, Jason Hall has been a starter at Georgia for almost 3 years, and Deshaun Elliott came in and beat him out, and he's been a playmaker. And this is this is a team in Texas that's got 5 non-offensive touchdowns, and big reason why they were in that SC game was because of the play of Deshaun Elliott.
Of course, in college, you don't have to be touched. Doesn't have to be contact. The knee is down, looks like, at the 40 when he makes the interception. That should negate the return.
It's a great job of concentration by him, too. When Butler tips that ball, that is not easy to catch. You think it's coming in one way, and then it's redirected, and he kind of just pins it up against his chest, but makes another big play for his team. This is a defense led by Todd Orlando that preys on turnovers. He's one of the best in college football in coaching the turnover. He led college football at Houston in that category, so they preach that. They work on it all week long in practice. You see Todd Orlando.
That'll go as the 5th interception of the season for Texas. And again, 3 then would be by Deshaun Elliott.
I think this game plan from Todd Orlando has been perfect coming into this game. He said, I've got a quarterback that's hot, that's got a lot of confidence, but he hasn't seen a defense that's quite as complicated as ours, and I'm going to try to fool him.
After review, the runner's knee was down at the 40-yard line at the hash mark closest to the press box. It's going to be first down, Texas.
Safe to say you're an admirer of Coach Orlando's work?
Yeah. I really admired what he did at Houston, at Utah State before that. Tom Herman knows him well. They've been together. It's kind of interesting. And I remember talking with Todd Orlando a couple of years ago. He never had met Tom Herman before he called him to interview for the job. And that goes to show you the kind of respect that Tom Herman has for Todd Orlando. And certainly Orlando's stock is going to continue to rise as he gets more of the players kind of in his image that he likes to play defensively at Texas.
And I would say his stock is already pretty good. He's on that rather short list of coordinators already making $1 million a season. Of course, that list is getting longer. You want to keep these great coordinators, got to pay them. Pay them what some head coaches are getting someplace.
Right, like Brett Venables at Clemson.
Off the turnover. Texas with a 7-0 lead, 7.5 to play here in the first half. Buechele will keep it. Finds a seam, has the first down, and then will slide down. Nearly took a big hit from Brian Peavy. It's a 12-yard gain. There is a flag down at midfield. Peavy's pointing to his shoulder. I hit him with my shoulder.
Yeah, doesn't matter. You hit him with his shoulder. You hit a guy in the head, and by definition, Buechele becomes a defenseless player when he gives himself up right there, and you can't come up and hit him in the back of the head with any part of your body. It doesn't matter if it's a helmet or not. You can't hit him with your shoulder, can't hit him with your forearm. You hit him in the back of the head like that, especially a defenseless player that is a quarterback, and that's going to get a flag every time.
Forcible contact to the head or neck area.
Personal foul. Late hit on a defensive player. Number 10. Defense. 15-yard penalty coming in the run. Automatic. First down.
So that's different. That's not targeting. That's a late hit.
Yeah, quite honest, I'm surprised that they didn't have targeting on that call. See the forcible contact to the head or neck area, and that could be with any part of your body on a defenseless player. So I'm surprised that they didn't go one step further there.
Targeting is up around college football. 70 targeting penalties have been enforced entering this week. At this same point last year, only 48 had been enforced. But again, that is not a target. That is unsportsmanlike conduct, and that's the rule on the field. Still, it's a 15-yard penalty gain, and here's Foreman. He's across the 30, dropped by DeMonte Ruth, and this crowd is still buzzing about that penalty call.
Yep. Well, now you put Iowa State's defense is in a bind here. He crossed the 35-yard line. Texas has got their running game going now. Combination of wide receiver screens and wide receiver jet sweeps. and then you bring Chris Warren in at 250-pound, the sledgehammer tackles. They've found a running game in this game.
2nd down and 7. Warren in motion, bottom of your screen. Buechele looks to take off. He'll run, and he'll dive forward this time. Lanning tripped him up. He's shy of the 1st down. We got the word from the replay booth. At that point on the non-targeting call, the ruling was that Buechele was not a defensive player. Quite often the quarterback is considered.
If he gives himself up on a slide.
Here's 3rd and 2. It's Buechele again. This is the Shane Buechele show right now, running on 3 consecutive plays. As we tick on to 6 minutes left in the 1st half.
Tom Herman's offenses throughout the course of his career, when he's had good offense, whether it's Ohio State, whether it's at Houston with Greg Ward, he's had a quarterback that's mobile, that's been able to be a +1 runner in the run game. And it remains to be seen if Shane Buechele is going to be that kind of a player. Actually, Sam Ehlinger is more of that kind of a player, but for this offense to be working at its best, they need that element.
Here's Buechele to throw. He's 8 of 10. Doesn't feel the pressure. He's smacked as he's hit, and he throws and completes. It's Tennille Carter. Tennille Carter, the true freshman, for the touchdown. A 22-yard passing play. Buechele hung in there from the pressure from Marcel Spears and delivers a scoring strike.
Great job of standing in the pocket from Shane Buechele. You're right, I don't think he saw the blitz coming off the edge, but he found the matchup that he wanted. Tennille Carter with speed on the linebacker landing down the middle of the field.
Here's Rowland. On for the extra point. It is up and it is good. So Shane Buechele gets him in a scoring position thanks to his legs. And then in the end, it's his arm. Took a hit, made the play. Both Texas touchdowns now helped by 15-yard penalties. 14-0 Longhorns.
Longhorns up 14-0 back in Ames, and defensive coordinator John Haycock is not happy with his defense. They got that 15-yard personal foul penalty, and then they give up the big touchdown right down the middle, the guts of his defense. And he knows that this is an offense that's getting their rhythm, but defensively they're going to have to get some stops to win this game.
And Iowa State, they're going to make some offensive plays here, some field position. Do something to stay in this game. Landon Akers will take a knee, and again, you have to be so impressed. Shane Buechele came out. Remember, he had an early fumble, but he really hung in here on this play.
Yeah, and you got Tennille Carter, the true freshman running back, matched up on Joel Lanning, and this is just speed to the end zone. Great route, and right there, you see, that's tough. You got to stand in there and make that throw for your team, lead the running back downfield. It's great play design there from Tom Herman and Tim Beck, and good execution by Shane Buechele.
Reese, you've been there. What is more difficult, to know you're going to get hit, to feel it and see it and still hang in and release, or to not know you're going to get hit and be blindsided?
Definitely not know.
I guess you can prepare yourself, brace yourself a little bit.
Yeah, it takes your breath away.
On 1st down and 10. David Montgomery. We expected him to play a starring role for this Iowa State offense, but the Cyclones just can't get anything going.
Yeah, they need to get him going. Comes into the game averaging over 100 yards in each of the first 3 games with 4 touchdowns. Tonight you see just 4 rushes for 20 yards. This offense for Iowa State has to start with David Montgomery. They need to get him touches, and if it's not in the running game, Steve, throw him the ball.
Yep, get him in space. 2nd down and 9. Out of the 26. Park rolling to his right and throwing, and able to complete to Matthew Eaton. He's going to be short of the 1st down. Eaton's first catch. Hey, Montgomery must be a pretty good guy. Tom Manning was talking about him, the offense coordinator. He said he's the best human being ever. Now, maybe a slight exaggeration, I don't know, but you got to be a pretty good person to have someone call you the best human being ever. And that's what he said about Montgomery. Good job by Park to get it away to Matthew Eaton. And they have 1st down yardage. That's their first 3rd down conversion of the game. And maybe a little buzz from this home crowd.
Boy, they needed that one, and now they need to get this tempo. When Iowa State's offense is working well, they're going as fast as humanly possible. They just haven't been able to get that rhythm.
Handoff. Here's Montgomery. Straight up the middle for 3. Bring him a 2nd down and long with 4 minutes left in this first half. Texas scoring both of their touchdowns, aided by Iowa State unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. There was a late hit and there was a somersault, if you will. That's responsible, and that's the only 2 penalties of the game, by the way, for Iowa State. That part of it's pretty impressive. 2nd and 7 out of the 39. And let's see. Must have been a timeout. There was still 6 on the play clock.
Timeout. Iowa State. First of the half.
Cyclones use their first timeout. They'll talk it over. Trailing by a couple of touchdowns. Back at Ames, 14-0 Texas with 3:42 to play in the half. And Iowa State trying to get something going here on 2nd down and 7. Montgomery, bottom of your screen, and trying to get a little quick throw to Montgomery. Was not quick enough from Park to deliver it, and they couldn't do anything with it. So the short gain bring up a 3rd down and 3.
That's where you got to get the ball to Montgomery. We haven't thrown him the ball yet today. Maybe a little swing pass.
See, Iowa State has struggled on 3rd down. Here's 3rd and 3. Here's Park looking left and throwing the whole way out to Trevor Ryan, who has been a factor in the game tonight. And he has 1st down yardage.
Great job by Trevor Ryan. The ball's thrown a little bit high and behind him, but he just flips his hips around, and probably the most sure-handed receiver on this team.
Gain of 10 for the former walk-on, who's now on scholarship. On 1st and 10. Out again to Ryan. Why not? Covered there by Holton Hill. And Hill getting up slowly a little bit.
They're throwing a lot of these quick routes to the outside. They've set up Texas now. If you want to take a shot, pump that flat route and take a shot down the field. That's how they like to get Lazard and Butler into the offense.
See if Park sees what you're seeing. On 2nd and 6. Keep it on the ground. David Montgomery right up the middle for 1st down yardage. But at least it looks like now they have Texas guessing a little bit, run or pass.
Sometimes you got to open up that run game by throwing the ball to the outside. Looked like Deshaun Elliott still down in the middle of the field for Texas.
And that will stop the clock with 2:19 left here in the half. Iowa State still with 2 timeouts.
I feel like Iowa State needs to get some points here. Something positive before halftime. Get this crowd a little bit back into this game. They love a touchdown. And this is the area of the field where I like to take a shot. I know you're an aggressive play caller on 2nd down, but maybe 1st and 10 here. Take a shot in the red zone fringe.
I'm going to start printing that on hats and T-shirts and see if I can do something with that.
You need to start using a little bit better football terminology, like put some red zone fringe in there.
Red zone fringe.
Yeah, it's not the red zone.
No,
it's the fringe of the red zone.
It's just outside of the red zone.
Exactly.
That's the fringe part. Saturday on ABC, a huge ACC showdown between 4-0 teams. Kelly Bryant and number 2 Clemson will be in Blacksburg. They'll take on Cam Phillips and number 12 Virginia Tech. Actually, that game's at Lane Stadium. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
And Lane will be jumping. No pun intended. That place will be wild.
How about Josh Jackson? We had him first game of the year against West Virginia, and he played almost flawlessly in his first time out. I think it's a little bit different beast going up against Christian Wilkins and company.
Do you know that Josh is ahead of Michael Vick's pace at this point in his career on all the important numbers? And that'll be fun to watch on Saturday night. Here's Park on 1st and 10, taking a shot. Too high a shot for Alan Lazard, went over his head.
I like that play call, though, right? Lazard goes 6'5", 222 pounds, and you're matched up out there on Chris Boyd, who's 6 feet tall. Ball just sails on him, goes out of bounds. Give him a chance to go up and make a play. He's one of the best in college football at that jump ball. Give him a chance.
2nd down and 10. You see the time remaining in the half. 2 timeouts left still for the Cyclones. You see where they need to get a decent field goal try. Out to the 33. Here's Park, good protection. Sails one down the sideline and again overthrows Lazard. Chris Boyd on the coverage again, Todd.
Yeah, and it's frustrating to watch because we watched the tape of Park, and he was making a lot of these throws. I thought he had really good touch on the rail shots, meaning the throws down the sideline, the vertical throws when they're in the red zone. Really timed out his back shoulder throws well. And then all of a sudden tonight, it seems like either the coverage looks and what he's seeing from the Texas defense are throwing him off, or the early pressure has just gotten him out of a rhythm.
I think this is what happens, Todd, when a quarterback is a little bit doesn't trust what he's seeing. And give credit to Texas defensively and Todd Orlando for just creating a little bit of doubt in his mind, and that hurts your accuracy.
Here's his 24th pass of the night. Whistles blow. Still 2 on the play clock. I think Texas took a timeout. They saw something they didn't like.
Texas, first and a half. 30-second timeout for the game clock operator.
Back to the studio. Here's Adnan.
All right, Leafs, thank you very much. Coming up on the Land Rover Halftime Report, a halftime pick'em. Jesse Palmer and Joey Galloway picked the best games of the weekend. They disagree on who's going to win tomorrow's huge game, USC and Washington State. And speaking of the Trojans, I go one-on-one with Sam Darnold. Ask him the kind of hard-hitting questions a guy like Steve Levy would do. All that more coming up. Land Rover Halftime Report. Leaves.
See, Adnan knows. He knows what time it is.
Yeah, because he's back there still doing Sports Center. You know, you're out here on the road, and you're not as plugged in.
It's
you know?
so glamorous out here on the road with you. Although we did roll in a convertible, you were surprised by that choice of rental car. Not a lot of convertibles here.
Now you're out. Now you're out. Everybody knows. You know, it's your. This big 3rd and 10 here is. This is where Todd Orlando, this defense, likes to bring some pressure. See if they dial it up here on Jacob Park.
This is the 11th play of the drive.
Should look off the edge.
3rd down and 10. See what they need. They need 3 or 4 for a decent field goal shot. Here's Park on the run. He was hit as he throws, and it will fall incomplete again over the head. No chance for Lazard. Bring up a 4th down. Again, it's a tricky part of the field here. This is definitely way out for Garrett Owens. We showed you the line we'd like to get to.
Yeah, I think they're going to go for it here. And well, they're going to try to punt it now. But you can see when Jacob Park takes a snap, right off the bat, he's retreating, going in the opposite direction. And you do that when you don't know where the pressure's coming from, and that's never a good recipe because you can never plant and throw the ball accurately down the field.
Instead of a 54-yard field goal attempt, Colin Downing will punt it in the air. And Texas will let it bounce, and it will be downed at the 1-yard line with 1:42 left here in the half. Texas will take over from the 1-yard line with a 14-0 lead, and the Longhorns have 2 of their 3 remaining timeouts. So, you know, Texas has really benefited from Iowa State's mistakes. Really, the only 2 penalties they've committed, they've been very costly, and that's the reason Texas has the lead.
Yeah, and Texas has taken advantage with their run game and Shane Buechele. Shane's been really efficient in this game. He's taken the shots when they've been there, and they've supplemented with running the football. Tom Herman, Tim Beck, they knew that for this offense of Texas to take the next step with all of the injuries that they've had on the offensive line, they had to find a creative way and a scheme to run the football, and I think they found it in the first half of this game.
Texas going to try to get some points here. 2 timeouts, backed up at their own 1. With 1:42 left, we play conservative and get out of here.
I doubt it.
All right. On 1st down, they get out of the end zone and out to the 2-yard line. Kyle Porter, Joel Lanning on top of him.
But Iowa State does have 2 timeouts, so you know I would think about using those right now and at least force a punt from backed up, and maybe something happens, you get a return or a block or something.
Great point. Clock management, and the clock yet continues to spill down.
They'll wait to use it on 2nd and 3rd down.
I hope so.
If they get a stop here and not a 1st down.
2nd down and 10. See how far Buechele milks it now. 10 on the play clock. And they'll run it right up the middle. Right up the gut is Porter, and he is pushed back, and a timeout. Iowa State looking for a safety, but the forward progress will be marked out to the 4-yard line, and as you correctly suggested, Cyclones will take a timeout.
Yep.
While the timeout, give you a chance to show you what happened. It's the 2 big penalties leading to 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and this fumble here early was saved by Shackelford, but the celebration penalty after on Jaquan Bailey sets up this remainder of this drive, and Chris Warren puts it in for a 7-0 lead.
And there was no targeting on that play. That was called a late hit. Unsportsmanlike conduct, and then Buechele comes back and hits the true freshman for the touchdown. Tennille Carter. Carter has 12 brothers. Did you know that?
I did not.
Marky, Ricky, Danny, Terry, Mikey, Davey, Timmy, Tommy, Joey, Robbie, Johnny, and Brian.
That's what's all over your board.
You know what that's from? That's the old Goodwill Hunting line. Actually, Tennille only has 5 siblings. But if I told you Marky, Ricky, Danny, Terry, Mikey, Davey, Timmy, Tommy, Joey, Robbie, Johnny, and Brian, 12 older brothers, you might believe me. Third down and 8.
Doesn't, right?
Keeping it on the ground, conservative as you thought. And we'll see Iowa State use the quick timeout. 54 seconds left. And force him into the punt situation.
Okay, head coach, so are you going to come after the punt here, or are you going to try to set up a return?
I think I'm going to come after it. I'm going to take a shot. I'm an aggressive play caller, even on defense, as you know.
Well, you know, if you come after him here, you know, you could block it, and you have the risk of the ball going out the back of the end zone, which would not be a touchdown.
No, I'll take 2 points at this point. I'll take any points at this point.
Well, this young Michael Dixon from Australia has had some boots in this game. I mean, he's impressive, too, over 60 yards already in this game. Sometimes those guys that can really boot it and they take 3 steps instead of 2 steps, those are the guys that are a little bit more susceptible to getting a punt block. But they coach these punters in the end zone. Don't take your normal steps. Only take 2 steps and just get that ball out. Don't worry about distance.
Trevor Ryan is back at his own 36 to receive. Here's what Dixon's looking at. They don't bring pressure. They'll look to set up a return. Ryan from his 37. He'll try to turn the corner. Does, and he has plenty of Longhorns waiting for him. With 33 seconds left in the half. It's a
Buck linebacker on defense, running down on punts. You know, that's part of the culture, right, that Tom Herman is trying to employ here at Texas, is no matter who you are, starter or not, I need you to play on special teams.
And Brian, I've noticed standing right here in the back of the end zone, all 3 starting linebackers on that cover team: Hughes, Anthony Wheeler, and Malik Jefferson.
Pretty cool.
So let's see what Iowa State can do. They're out of timeouts. 33 seconds left. They said Montgomery, split him out wide, bottom of your screen. Parks looking left, throws underneath, able to complete, but they're going to need a lot more than that to get going with no timeouts left.
That's okay, though. You know, you get a first down and stop the clock. That's the most important thing. Just need another 20 yards to get in field goal range.
Gain of 11 there to Deshaunte Jones. Again, that ball is up in the air for grabs, and it is intercepted. It's Chris Boyd down the sideline, out to the 40-yard line with 13 seconds still left, and Texas still having 2 timeouts. Longhorns might not be done here in the first half.
And you got to give credit to the pressure from the defensive line up front. You're going to see it's Brecken Hager right here. He's going to get pressure on the right tackle. Bryce Meager pushes him right back into the lap of the quarterback. Now that's bad, right? You get pushed back like that, that's bad. What's worse is the quarterback then tries to force a ball like that and throws the interception. Sometimes you gotta know when to eat it.
I think Park might even hit his hand on the helmet of the offensive lineman. That's how far he was pushed back into him. It goes to the turnover with 13 seconds left and a 28-yard return. Texas has a real chance of getting a field goal here before halftime.
Yeah, we have all your offense at your disposal with the timeouts. You can run it in between the time. You can throw it in the middle of the field, do whatever you want. But you gotta think that you got 2 plays max. Then you can attempt the field goal.
See, when Park has looked down downfield, it has not gone well for him. Passes longer than 10 yards. Here's Shane Buechele. Hit from behind as he throws. That's up for grabs and batted away. Deflecting it away was DeMonte Ruth. J.D. Wagner had the pressure on Buechele, and he really got intercepted on that play.
Yeah, I was not a big fan of that play call there. I don't think you need to try to push the ball way down the field in this situation. You bring sack into the equation, and it takes a whole lot of time. That play took 7 seconds, so you got to get something quick here. Tell whoever receives the ball to get out of bounds or get on the ground to call a timeout and attempt a field goal.
The pressure from Buechele when it's come has come from that left side where there's no Connor Williams to protect. Try to set up the screen for Warren. It's got running room. Leaps over a defender.
It takes
with
too
no
long.
time left on the clock.
It takes too long.
Hey, it's great. You're in field goal range, but it's also halftime.
Yep.
So the extra effort by Warren to get extra yards will cost them a field goal attempt. 14-0 Texas at the break. We'll see you for the second half, but first to the studio, Adnan, Joey, and Jesse.
That's what they when we come around. This is your time when we want it now. How big is your army? 100,000. If you want the rain, then we coming down.
Jack Trice on a Thursday night in Ames, Iowa, with Shane Buechele and Texas leading by a score of 14-0 as we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. Steve Levy in for Dave Fleming on this Thursday night, joined by my usual pals Todd McShay and Brian Greasy. You'll hear from Laura Rutledge shortly. So we open the show saying, hey, the Cyclones, explosive offense. They've scored 40 points in every game so far, and then goose egg right now at halftime.
Well, you got to give credit to Texas defense, right? And specifically Todd Orlando. I thought that they had a great plan coming in to get Jacob Park off of his spot, not make him feel comfortable, and they forced him into some indecision, and they forced him into 2 interceptions.
Shane Buechele has done a nice job of managing the game as well, and the offensive line hasn't been great, but it's been improved, and they're not making the same mistakes that really hurt them at USC.
Park had to throw 26 times in the first half. That is not in the game plan.
Well, and they haven't gotten the ball to their best player, Montgomery, at halfback. They've got to get him going in the second half.
And that will bounce out of the end zone. Texas with the lead, and they will have the football out at the 25.
You see some of these looks from Todd Orlando defensively. They've got pressure. They move Jacob Park around, and when he's outside the pocket, he's just made some poor decisions. This was the direct result of pressure up front from Hager and led to an interception.
Being down on the sideline, just watching him, he doesn't seem comfortable at all. On the other hand, Shane Buechele, we just talked about, he's kind of taking over the game a little bit. He's running the ball a little bit more. He's showing that athleticism that he has, and he's doing a good job with his decisions, making progression reads, and when he finds an open receiver, he's going to hang in there. Really tough. That impresses me a lot about Buechele, who's undersized, but it just hangs in there and takes some big hits.
And he is shaken off the rust after not playing the last 2 games. Remember, he had the fumble early. He was bailed out by the unsportsmanlike conduct. That allowed Texas to keep that first drive going and score the touchdown to open the football game. Flags fly. We'll see who jumped.
They had 5 false starts against USC. This will be their first one if that's the call.
Offside, number 2. Defense in the neutral zone, causing the offense to false start. 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Willie Harvey. Down to Laura.
All right, Steve, well, I talked to Matt Campbell, and he said that what they've really seen success with is mixing up their coverage defensively. And Tom Herman told me going into halftime that they felt like Iowa State had come in playing a different defense than they had expected, so those mixed coverages have really helped. Matt Campbell telling me they have more up their sleeve.
All right, thank you. Lauren donning the jacket as temperatures have dropped to 61 degrees.
I should have stayed down there.
Could go into the high 40s here tonight in Ames, Iowa.
That's interesting. You know, you noticed in the first half, Iowa State defensively, what Laura is talking about there and what Matt Campbell and Tom Herman are talking about. Iowa State is playing predominantly with just 3 defensive linemen and just 8 guys dropped on every single play. I would expect as Tom Herman and Tim Beck make adjustments, that Iowa State defense would make some adjustments to blitz a little bit more in the second half.
Here's that pressure. And Buechele saw it coming. They set up the middle screen nicely out to the 35-yard line to Colin Johnson. He's a guy they want to get more involved as well. He's going to be short of the marker. Makes the catch.
Kamari Cotton-Moya really closed quickly on that to prevent the first down.
First catch of the night for Johnson. Low snap. Buechele was effective running in the first half. He'll get the first down here to start the second half.
You know, we really haven't talked a lot about this defensive line for Iowa State, but they had a couple of JUCO transfers that came in that they really depend on. You see right there, Ray Lima, number 76. He's been a stalwart at the nose guard position. They also, Vernell Trent, Jay Heacock, the defensive coordinator, needs those guys to play in this second half against the run so he doesn't have to leave his corners on an island. It's the same penalty on Harvey off the edge. He had it 2 plays ago. You can't come into the neutral zone. If the offensive line jumps and he's in the neutral zone, it's going to be on the defense.
Ball start, number 68. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And that's on Derek Kerstetter on the offensive line of Iowa State. Or rather, Texas, I beg your pardon.
Kerstetter is the third offensive tackle that has come in. You know, they lost, obviously, Connor Williams, the left tackle. They lost Elijah Rodriguez, and they were playing with Nicholson and Okafor. Now Kerstetter's the third one in a tackle.
On 1st and 15. Buechele on the run. And he'll dump it off to Lil Jordan Humphrey. Tamonte Ruth came up to make the stop. Good story behind Lil Jordan Humphrey's first name. Apparently that's on the birth certificate, Lil Jordan. His older brother wanted him named Michael Jordan. And the compromise from mom was, we'll call him Lil Jordan. And that's how you get to that.
Like it.
2nd and 17 upcoming. My sister wanted me called Michael Jordan as well. Went with Steve instead. Very similar. You can see I could confuse those two. Here's 2nd and 17 now. Buechele will tuck it and run out to the 32. Spears brought him down.
If I'm Shane Buechele and I see that 3-down line, right, and I take a drop and I'm trying to throw the ball down the field, I have no concern about any kind of pass rush. Right. Even the 3 guys that are on the field, they can't get off blocks to get to the quarterback. So you can take his time, take a deep breath, survey the field. That puts a lot of pressure on the secondary.
It's like 7-on-7 drill.
Yeah.
Here's 3rd and 15. 8 of 12 on 3rd down conversions tonight. This is a big one at 3rd and 15. Look at the time. And eventually he will just dump it off to Humphrey. Willie Harvey came up to make the stop and force him out of bounds, bring up 4th down. But, I mean, had all day and night.
I don't know if that's a great strategy. 3 guys rushing and having that much time, but they got away with it. At some point, Todd, Iowa State has got to bring some pressure on Shane Buechele.
Surprised they're holding up as long as they are in coverage. And it's a tribute to the defense, but also these Texas receivers have to start asserting themselves and figuring out ways to open up coverage and working back on the scramble drill after the original play breaks down.
Here's Michael Dixon. His worst punt has been 56 yards tonight. He's got a 60-yarder and a 61-yarder as well. And a fair catch is called out at the 14 by Trevor Ryan. Once again, Laura Rutledge.
Well, I don't think Brian could have called for David Montgomery anymore in the first half, and that's kind of the same way that Matt Campbell feels. He told me we have to get Montgomery more involved offensively, and he told Jacob Park to just stop overthinking everything. He said that he's feeling pressure that may not be there, almost imaginary pressure, even though Texas continues to bring it. He wants him to not invent it on his own, guys.
In Montgomery's last 6 games, obviously dating back to last season, he's got 4 100-yard rushing games. And you know, you've said it a bunch of times, Grease, tonight. He's their best offensive player. Maybe the best player on the team.
Yeah, I think he's the best player on the field, and he took over the Iowa game. They just have to get him involved, and it can't just be handing it to him. Throw it to him.
And yet Park comes out throwing. And let's see, did he catch that ball? Marchie Murdoch off the turf and on his knees makes the grab.
I'm not sure that this was intended for Marchie Murdoch. Yeah, I guess it was, but he's on his backside, and great catch.
You guys say sitting in a zone. Is that what you mean by that? That's different. That's a different kind of sitting. Gain of 11 there. There's a pass on the money. It's Murdoch And there's some yards after the catch. He was across midfield. And this is what the Cyclones have been looking for all night. Back-to-back big pass plays. Gain of 24.
They really didn't get going in terms of the tempo in the first half because they didn't convert many third downs and pick up the first down to get it going fast. So I think it's a big emphasis this half.
And they'll mix it up, put it on the ground to Montgomery. And he'll get a yard and a half.
I'm not sure what running play that was, but when you get it to the ball and you get in the second level, there's two linebackers unblocked. It's probably not a great run scheme there. They have to help Montgomery. This offensive line for Iowa State has not done a good enough job creating some holes.
2nd and 9, barely across midfield. Here's Park, got a little pressure, able to throw. Lazard was there, but so too was Holton Hill, who had the excellent coverage.
At some point, they're going to have to go sluggo, slant and go and get up the field because they've really tried to work that throw. I know he's comfortable, Park is, with the quick throw, get the ball out. But these corners are starting to sit on it and really drive to the football when they see him look to the slant.
The problem is they're not protected long enough for him to hold the ball that long to throw it down the field.
Saw the numbers. They're trying to get it to Lazard. Just haven't been effective. He's airmailed Lazard at least 4 times. Here's Park on the run, facing pressure and throwing. And that time it's off the hands of Hakeem Butler. And I bring up a 4th down to Sean Elliott.
That's a case where you just need to talk about chase and ghost, what Laura was talking about with Matt Campbell. Just stay in the pocket, right? This blitz, yeah, it's a blitz, but it's picked up. Just stand in the pocket and throw the ball down the field. That's what you're talking about with chase and ghost, is seeing things that are not there, and it's breaking down plays.
And that, even if they completed that, wouldn't have been enough for the 1st down. Here's Downing on the punt. And Foreman is back. He'll make the fair catch at the 6-yard line. Texas with a 14-0 lead. And the football come back. This Iowa State crowd hasn't given the home fans anything to cheer about. I can only imagine the atmosphere in Blacksburg at Lane Stadium come Saturday night on ABC. The huge ACC showdown between 4-0 teams. Kelly Bryant and number 2 Clemson take on 12th ranked Virginia Tech. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, also streaming live on the ESPN app.
Don't hear a whole lot of talk about Bud Foster, right? Everybody wants to talk about Clemson's defense.
You all right?
They have something up the sleeve.
That should be an entertaining ball game. And even whoever loses that, don't count them out so quick.
I'd see a rematch.
Somebody's got to take a loss. There's Texas, their worst starting field position of the night, starting from the 7. And on 1st down, they get it out to Reggie Hemphill, the true freshman from Houston. Reggie Wilkerson forced him out. I'm not going to read all of Hempling's siblings, but he's got 7 siblings as well. There are some big families involved in this game tonight. Oh, you can hear the cracking down there. Some heavy hitting going on. And Chris Warren getting the brunt of that from Spencer Benton and Brian Peavy. Excellent ESPN audio on this Thursday night from Ames, Iowa.
Yeah, Peavy gives away 60 pounds to Chris Warren. Take a listen.
Don't see many corners come up and fill like that. Pretty impressive.
You might want to get lower next time.
And Warren's going to check out after that. It's a good idea. And Tennille Carter checks in. Carter, the true freshman running back, had a 22-yard receiving touchdown. For Texas' 2nd score of the game. And here's Carter again, able to turn the corner. And he's got 1st down yardage. He's been impressive. Reggie Wilkerson brings him down. There is a flag back at the 21-yard line. It's a gain of 10 if it stands.
They're going to get a hold on Jake McMillan, the right guard.
Holding, number 64. Offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Still 2nd down.
Yeah, Tom Herman doesn't like it, but it's a good call. You know, you get out on the perimeter, these offensive linemen, and they get in space, and their arms, here he is right here. He's going to come up on the 2nd level, and he just gets extended with his left hand right here. And that's a good call.
mistake-free in the first half, but we've already seen a false start, now a holding. Last week it was 5 false starts. They had 2 blocking in the back. They had a critical holding. So a lot of mistakes from this inexperienced, injury-rattled group.
2nd and 17. Buechele able to get out of there. And throw on the run down the field and overthrew his intended target, Lorenzo Joe. But there's another flag.
They're going to get another hold.
Holding, number 68. Offense. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That's Kerstetter. 2nd time he's been busted tonight.
It's the right tackle here, trying to block on the edge, and that's one I think you could let go there.
3rd and 17.
That's where Shane Buechele needs to understand the situation of the game. You're up 2 touchdowns, you're backed up in a not a good situation, 3rd and long. If something's there, take it, but protect the football at all costs.
That's Carter to his left. Cyclones look like they're bringing some people. And they don't. They all drop back. They only rush 3. And Buechele nearly got caught. Now able to step into a throw. And a good catch. Colin Johnson coming back to help out his quarterback.
And that's what we're talking about. You give a quarterback, any Pop Warner quarterback, you give him that much time, it's impossible for the secondary to cover for 8-9 seconds.
And this defensive line looks like they've been having to rush on their own all night. They, hands on hips. They look like they're starting to wear down from having to work so much as pass rushers up front.
Needed 17, got 25. Buechele to throw.
68 again.
Another flag. And Buechele was throwing that away.
Especially with a young offensive line. I'm surprised there's not more pressure from John Haycock.
Holding, number 68. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Well, Kerstetter's in at the right tackle position. We watched the tape against USC, and Denzel Okafor wound up with multiple sacks given up in the night and really struggled in that game. So Kerstetter's the only other offensive lineman. You see all the injuries there, including Connor Williams, who I think is the best offensive tackle in all of college football and is probably going to be a top 10 pick in the upcoming draft. So that's what you're losing in that player. They've just been rotating guys around and trying to find the right 5.
1st down and 20. It's been a flag fest here early on in the 3rd quarter. Draw play to Kyle Porter. It's a loss of 1 on the play. Spencer Benton came up to make the stop, but you're right, Grease. I mean, that is the basic of the basic. We've documented how banged up and inexperienced this offensive line is, and yet Iowa State refuses to bring pressure. You would think it would be easy to get to the quarterback in this case.
Yeah, well, give credit to Benton here. He's been rushing, right, the last 5 minutes of this game. He still has some energy, but you're right, Steve. This is an approach, but John Haycock is a very veteran defensive coordinator, been around a long time.
35 years for Haycock.
He's trying to keep this game close.
2nd and 21. Out to Gerard Hurd.
And clearly what that means, Steve, right, is that he doesn't feel the confidence in the back end to play man-to-man, right? To play against a Colin Johnson or Lorenzo Doe or some of these weapons that Texas has. He's keeping it to 14 points here, which, you expect your offense to score some too, but they just haven't been able to do it.
Especially when Iowa State's gotten 40 points in every game.
Right.
You see Buechele, his numbers impressive, especially on 3rd down. Took 5 of 6 every single time. Porter is the single setback to Buechele's left. See if they bring some heat.
This is coming because there's no deep safety.
And a timeout. So they surprised him so much because they haven't blitzed all night. They finally look like they're going to bring some people, and they want to talk it over.
You're getting a PhD in blitz and now blitz here tonight.
Well, I saw there was no safety. It means they got to be bringing people. Oh boy. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow night.
I'm a bad, bad man.
into the secondary.
The U and the Blue Devils. Then
Darnold throws. What a throw.
Trojans and Cougars. Miami versus Duke, followed by USC at Washington State, tomorrow at 7 Eastern.
Should be an awful lot of fun tomorrow night. 2 for the price of 1. Should be 2 excellent football games. 14-0 here, Texas, as we welcome you back to Ames, Iowa. And here's Buechele. Finally, some pressure up the middle, gets at it, and throws it, it's intercepted. It's picked off. Kamari Cotton-Moya back in the lineup, makes the big play. Maybe that's the spark the Cyclones needed.
A little bit of change from John Hancock, right? He rushed 4, he played 2 deep and man under, really put the pressure on Shane Buechele and forced him into making this mistake. You're going to see the pressure from up front. Got to get that pressure right there, and then the decision, he doesn't see the backside safety Cotton-Moya, Todd.
And he hadn't seen that look very often today, and so it surprised him. Didn't see the safety, as you said, winds up throwing the interception.
Here's Jacob Park. Hit as he throws. Back shoulder, and it's dropped. Matthew Eaton knows it. Could have had a big play there.
Now, that ball was really well thrown on the back shoulder from Jacob Park. This has been a little bit of an issue for Iowa State's receivers. As talented as they are, 6'4" Eaton goes, 6'5" Lazard, 6'6". They've had some issue with drops. The end of the Iowa game in overtime, it was Hakeem Butler that dropped a first down play.
And Boyd had slipped down. That could have been 6 right there. 2nd and 10. On the ground to Montgomery. And Poona Ford makes the stop. Down to Laura.
Guys, Matt Campbell's still talking to Jacob Park about the pressure that he's dealing with, trying to give him some advice. He said you can't just catch the snap and stand up. You've actually got to get it and drop back. And then he said then you may feel some pressure, but you've still got some space to step up in the pocket and buy yourself some more time.
And that's what we've seen. When you have outside pressure as a quarterback, you need to climb in the pocket. And a lot of quarterbacks are afraid of that. And their first instinct is to just roll out to the right or left.
3rd down and 10. Rolling to his right. And he rolls right out of bounds. Brecken Hager forced him out. Bring up 4th down.
I mean, this is a tough game, right? They're kids. It's a tough game. There's a lot of pressure going on. And Jacob Park's not having his best game. Right now, there's so much thinking going on right now. He can't even throw the ball away when he gets to the sideline. He just runs right out of bounds. He's not spatially aware. So, you know, Matt Campbell, Manning, they have their hands full on the sideline with him. I still don't know why you don't at least call some screen plays or some swing passes. Get your best player, Montgomery, matched up in the passing game.
So the Cyclones can't do anything with the great field position off the turnover. And Amani Foreman, the fair catch at the 10. There is a flag down. That looked like that was Iowa State's opportunity to do some business.
That's the look there from Matt Campbell, right? You know, there's only so much talking you can do in the course of a game to settle a quarterback down.
Personal foul, face mask, number 5, receiving team. That penalty is enforced half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Face mask against the Longhorns. And we'll step out. 14-0. Iowa State still looking for that spark. Back in Ames, Tom Herman's Longhorns are leading 14-0. We asked Tom the biggest difference in his life from, say, a year ago at this point to now, and he said, well, no one's talking about where I'm going next year. And then he also said he was able to pick out a dream house. That's Chris Warren, the ball carrier. He said the difference, we've moved so many times, 6 times in 11 years. Our first concern as a family was, hey, we're going to buy a house. Will we be able to sell it without losing a ton of money when we go to sell it? He said the difference is now, he told his wife, hey, we can go buy our dream house now. We expect or want to be in Austin for a long, long time. So.
Well, there's good reason why he was the hottest commodity on the coaching market right after the national championship at Ohio State, and then what he was able to do at Houston in a short amount of time. It was impressive.
2nd and 8. It's Chris Warren. Spears and Lanning on the tackle.
Everybody wants to know, you come to Texas, and at Ohio State, you had some really good quarterbacks, right? J.T. Barrett, Cardale Jones, etc. Braxton Miller. You go and have Greg Ward, a transformational player at Houston, and now you come to Texas, and you've got two quarterbacks here. One that showed some grit in Sam Erlinger, and now Shane Buechele, who's played a pretty efficient game. But are these the quarterbacks of the future for Texas? I think that's what everybody wants to know.
And he keeps saying he doesn't need Vince Young in order to have an effective offense because of what they want to do, but they need to get better up front offensively in that line.
3rd and 5 off the play fake. Get it to Foreman, and he won't get anything. Well done by that Iowa State defense. Reggie Wilkerson and Willie Harvey.
It has not been pretty for Iowa State on the offensive side, and they haven't had any rhythm or momentum in this game, but their defense has been that bend, don't break. They've given up a couple of plays, and they've made some mistakes with penalties, but outside of that, I feel like they've played well enough to win this game.
Absolutely.
They've kept them in it.
And they've started to make some adjustments here in the second half that we've seen. I think Haycock has done a nice job. A veteran coordinator. You know who he started with? Grad assistant? Bo Schembechler of Michigan.
Of course he's good.
Michael Dixon shanked it. Dixon, who's been so excellent for Texas all night, shanks that one. And another break for Iowa State. Let's see where they're going to start.
I talked to a scout coming up here, and he said that Dixon was probably the best player on the field in the first half. He was blown away by his leg, and really shocking, that kick.
17-yard punt is what it goes for. And Iowa State's in business, the 28-yard line.
You have to get something here. The last possession, you get an interception by Kamari Cotton-Moya, and you're not able to do anything, not even get a first down on offense. You have to take advantage, if you're Iowa State, of this field position.
3 times tonight, Iowa State has started in Texas territory. The other 2 previous times off turnovers. Wound up with a combined 7 plays off those 2 turnovers. That's it, a 3 and out. They got a 4th play. Here's Park, come out firing, throw and catch to Lazard. And he's down to the 11-yard line. And the crowd has something to cheer about.
A little patience in the pocket there, bro.
Yeah. Well, and if I'm Matt Campbell, I would have told Jacob Park on the sideline, look, man, stop thinking, just relax. We may win, we may lose, but it's not going to be, we're not going to win if you're continuing to second guess yourself. Just let it rip.
17 on that play. 2.5 left, 3rd quarter. In a 2-score game. Here's Park throwing end zone, up high, and nearly a spectacular catch. Hakeem Butler went up for it, and Deshaun Elliott rocked his world. Great effort by Butler in the end zone.
It would have been an outstanding catch. Give credit to Deshaun Elliott. These safeties are put in difficult position, Todd, because they can't hit high.
Right.
You can't hit a defenseless receiver, but he played that perfectly.
He timed it perfectly, too, is the key. Right when the receiver was starting to come down with the ball, he was there in the back.
Elliott's been their best secondary player from the SC game and tonight with the interceptions and that big play.
Park 16 of 33 now. Little option out to Montgomery. Thought about throwing it and does back in the end zone. Could not hit Lazard, sailed it over his head. Chris Boyd wasn't falling for that one.
I like that play call. I really like that play call there. You have to respect Montgomery, right? Your quarterback's a little bit rattled, and this is just well done by Chris Boyd. He doesn't bite on the outside. There's nowhere to throw that football. That's just good defense.
For a group that struggled so badly at Maryland, against Maryland in the opener, really impressed with the discipline of this Texas defense tonight.
They're going to spend a timeout here before 3rd and 10. We'll step out. Critical time in the ball game. Iowa State knocking at the door. We're back in 60 seconds. Back just in time for 3rd and 10. A lot of running room. Park will throw it and complete for the touchdown. Matthew Eaton back in the nick of time. And Iowa State's back in the game.
talk about tipping points, Todd, in a game, and after that last play, there was an altercation between Jacob Park and his head coach Campbell, and they were not on the same page. A lot of emotion, some yelling back and forth. He goes back out on the field and makes a big-time throw and gets his team back into this football game. But they're going to have a long conversation about the emotions of the game, right, and what you do and don't do on the sideline.
He's a fiery competitor, Park is. He plays the game a little bit differently than most of your typical quarterbacks. It almost seems like he finally just let it rip, and that's not the way to go about it, yelling at your coach. But that's the first time he seemed like himself in this game tonight on that throw.
Garrett Owens puts it through. 14-7, and here's what we're talking about. This is prior to that last timeout.
Yeah, you see right after that second down, he comes over, he's yelling at Matt Campbell. I think he said something like, let's get this thing going. And Campbell clearly says, listen, you need to listen to me, son. Like, this is how we're going to build this program back, and you're not going to do those kinds of things on the sideline. Go back out there and make a play. That's the only thing you need to do as a player, is make a play for your team. Don't talk about it, be about it.
It's one of the few times we saw him hang in the pocket. The pressure came from the outside. He climbs up and keeps his eyes down the field and keeps just his poise about him in order to find an open receiver, and then he just lets it rip, which is something he hasn't done a whole lot of tonight.
And that was a really good throw, too. That was the perfect spot, could not be intercepted. If anybody was going to catch it, it was going to be Matthew Eaton. And all of a sudden, for as poorly as they've played offensively, it's a one-score game here in the third quarter.
You know, sometimes you need a little passion from your leader, from your quarterback, and I think that's good.
Channel it a little differently.
Yeah, but you also don't want to have the highs and lows. You don't want to be way up and way down. You want to be consistent at that position. And, you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Chad Kelly, you know, when he was a young player. And it was emotional, and he'd come off on the sideline, and when it was at Clemson, he yelled at Dabo Sweeney, you know, in the spring game of all things. He's got a little bit of that in him. He's got to be able to channel it in positive ways.
Here's Foreman trying to get a return. And that ball comes out. Iowa State says they have it, and they do.
Like Mauricio Ramirez jumped on that football for Iowa State. Question is, was the knee down from Amani Foreman? He's fighting.
It's his own player.
Boy, that's close. It's another look from the opposite
Rolling on the
side.
field is a fumble recovered by Iowa State. The previous play is under further review.
Bobby McMillan knocked it loose.
So here's the ball right here. That ball is out.
Yes, that's a great look, fellas. That's a great look.
Wow. I'm going to talk about imploding in the second half of a game. For if you're Texas, you've come out, you've thrown the interception from Shane Buechele, then you have the shank by your punter, who was outstanding in the first half, and now a potential fumble on a kickoff.
Multiple penalties as well, things we didn't see from Texas in the first half.
So since that 17-yard punt, this has all gone wrong for the Longhorns now.
Not there, the ball. Boy, he's tangled up there, and it's hard to see anything definitive that would overturn the call on the field. There, that look there looked like not as much of a fumble.
Right, as the other look.
Go back, guys, and I think he's still controlling that ball until the left arm, that Iowa State player, comes in.
This is so close and will be such a critical decision in the game.
I think this is the best look, to be totally honest with you. Watch the left knee. I think he still has possession, and the knee's down, and then there's when the ball starts to come out.
Agreed.
I think that was the best look there, and I would not have a fumble here.
I think the other look, we mixed up the knees. It was tough to tell which knee was his.
Again, ruled a fumble on the field at the 14-yard line. Would need conclusive evidence to overturn it. Conclusive video evidence.
After review, The runner's knee was down prior to the ball coming loose at the 14-yard line. Will the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 2 seconds. 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
They found some conclusive video evidence to overturn that call.
That's really well done by this crew and the replay booth and Walt Anderson and the Big 12 crew back at the Central Command, because what a game-changing play that would be, and it would have been the wrong call had it stayed on the field, ruled a fumble. So that's really well done.
Monty Foreman's a happy man. Texas will take over. Last 3 drives have started from the 7, the 4, and here their own 14-yard line. Here's Carter. There is a flag down. He's got back to the line of scrimmage. Wearing out these Zebras in the second half.
Holding, number 75, offense. Half the distance to the goal, still first down.
That's Tristan Nicholson, who's playing the left tackle spot for Connor Williams.
Trying to count here in the second half just for Texas on the offensive line. That's 3 or 4 holding calls.
Overall, it's the 5th penalty on Texas this quarter. 1st and 17. Carter, the New Orleans native, they fake to him. That ball is tipped up in the air by Willie Harvey. And they're going to call it an Iowa State touchdown. That's a loose live football. Reggie Wilkerson able to pick it up after Willie Harvey deflected it. And all of a sudden, it's a 1-point game.
Ball has to be going back behind the line of scrimmage. A lateral from the quarterback. Take a look. Great look here from the opposite side.
I think that one's coming forward.
Yeah, we're going to look at that too.
They're going to let it go.
Rolling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
That's a great job by them not calling, not blowing the whistle, right? Exactly. If there's any doubt at all, let the play go. You can correct it back to an incomplete pass, but if you blow the whistle, you take away a potential touchdown.
That's the point. And these officials, I know, have been coached up that way. If you're not sure, don't blow it dead.
Yep. Take a look now. He's on the 2-yard line. That ball, yeah, it lands outside the 3-yard line. I know it was tipped as well, but I think that was a forward pass. Back-to-back reviews here.
On really major, critical, game-turning type plays.
Got Walter. Speed dial,
I'm sure you do.
You can go up to the replay booth here and go all kinds of ways, but Walt Anderson says forward, so I'm going to go with Walt.
Got it. Has Rodgers checked in tonight yet, or
no? We're cheating on Rodgers tonight. We're going with Walt.
These Zebras have taken over the 3rd quarter.
Get it right,
Yeah, well, that's the point.
Get it right.
No question.
Iowa State faithful are not going to be happy that they're getting it right, but on both accounts, it's going against the Cyclones.
Yeah.
So if they do bring it back, it'll be 2nd and 17.
Yep.
In their own 7. Still backed up.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to be an offensive play caller when every other play is a holding or a false start. You're working behind the chains. You're not on schedule.
After review, the ball is going forward, therefore it's an incomplete forward pass. 2nd down. Will the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 41 seconds.
The breaks not going the Cyclones' way, as you mentioned. They're very close to doing something in this game.
Well, think about the emotion that Matt Campbell is going through on that sideline, right? His quarterback comes over and yells at him. Right. He has to settle him down. Then he goes back out and throws a touchdown pass. Then he's got his arm around him, and now he's got back-to-back replays that could have been game-changing replays that don't go in his favor. The emotions of being a head coach.
Word from Laura downstairs is they were asking if the tip made it go forward. And that was not the case. The pass was going forward across the line of scrimmage even without before the tip. Here's Buechele with all sorts of time, and see, they're going to call that a catch off the top of the grass. Colin Johnson. Now the official's going to get some help and say no catch.
Colin Johnson's been quiet tonight. He's been their big play receiver. Big receiver, gets down the field. He struggled with press coverage a little bit, but once he gets going, he's great on the 50-50 balls. I'm surprised they haven't worked the ball a little bit more to Johnson tonight.
Yeah, well, they only rush in 3, Todd, so they've got 2 guys back there in a zone looking at the quarterback. It's hard to throw the ball to a guy in that situation.
So Colin Johnson still stuck on 2 catches for the 27 yards. Here's 3rd and 17. Buechele to throw from the end zone. Short game. Joel Lanning wraps up his man, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and swings him around. So Texas will be punting from their end zone with 1:20 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
And that's exactly what Matt Campbell and this defense for Iowa State wanted to have happen. Just throw the ball short and come up, rally to the football, and get him on the ground. And now you wonder, Michael Dixon, where is his head after the shank on the last punt?
Dixon punts of 61, 60, and 56 yards, and then the 17-yard clunker that led to the touchdown. From the goal line, he'll kick it away. Trevor Ryan will let it bounce. And it will take a Texas bounce. And Iowa State will take it at the 37-yard line. Tremendous emotional swings in this game. That's a 54-yard punt. So Dixon is back in business. But to stay focused, these college players, all the ups and downs, the emotional swings, that's something.
This will be interesting. You're talking about emotion. So last time your quarterback was out there in Jacob Park, you had a little spat, right? So now, how does that affect the play calling here? I would anticipate a little bit more potentially of David Montgomery.
41 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter. So pretty good field position to start a drive. Here's Park. Texas rushing 4. Sideline, back shoulder. Murdoch got all turned around. Incomplete.
He's hanging in there better. That throw is off, but at least he's, I mean, if the blitz came earlier in the game, like it did off the backside, if he recognized it, and he's going to probably take off run. At least he's hanging in the pocket a little bit more.
2nd down and long has been a blitz down for Todd Orlando in this game. It'd be interesting to see. I would come after him.
And they drop, rushing just 3. Here's Park stepping up and throwing, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Deshaun Elliott again.
Have a night.
Deshaun Elliott. He looked like the intended target there. 2nd interception of the night. His 4th of this young season.
Talked about when Jacob Park misses, he misses high, and he's just trying to get the ball to Hakeem Butler. There's a seam there. There's a great window there. And, you know, I'd love to say that Deshaun Elliott had a great play there, but he just had to open your arms and hits him right in the chest. That's the...
And Butler's 6'5". Yeah. I mean, you're overthrowing 6'5" receivers, 6'6" receivers, 6'4" receivers. They have one of the bigger receiving cores that we've seen all season long. And he's continually missed high.
Tough to imagine this 3rd quarter going worse for Iowa State, and they have a touchdown in the quarter.
Well, it's been sloppy on both sides here in the 3rd quarter.
Here's Buechele with excellent field position. The flags go. 0s on the play clock.
I mean, I'm trying to put myself.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Go 1st down.
There's the sloppiness you talk
I'm
about.
trying to put myself in Matt Campbell's shoes and what I would do right now. Honestly, my quarterback is on a roller coaster right now. I have no idea if he's going to throw a touchdown or interception.
They've abandoned the running game.
3rd one. I don't know why they're not giving it to David Montgomery. I mean, I have no explanation for that. That's his 3rd interception, and as an emotional player, I just don't know if he's going to give you the best chance to come back in this game and win.
Pushed back 5 yards after the penalty. Bouchel will hand it off to Foreman. Trying to get around the corner, and he can't. DeMonte Ruth came up for the stick. See if we get another play here in quarter number 3. Like they split Bouchel out there for a second. We'll see what they come back with in the fourth quarter. Those who've been watching the NFL game, that game at halftime, we welcome those of you who are going to come back and watch an excellent fourth quarter here. Texas with a 7-point lead, 14-7 over Iowa State. We'll be right back. Usually we are your Saturday or for the boys guys. Levy, Greasy, McShay here on a Thursday night with Laura Rutledge as we open up quarter number 4 in a 1-score game. Texas with the lead in the football. Across midfield, here's Shane Bouchel. Check it down underneath the Chris Warren, and he's inside the 40-yard line. Peavy on the tackle. And Warren with some difficulty getting up, not because he's hurt, because Iowa State didn't want to let him up.
If I'm Tim Beck here, I'm telling Shane Bouchel this is a 7-point game. Their offense has not done a whole lot. 3 points here would be huge to get up 2 scores. So if you don't have it to get a first down, if you get at least use your legs, maybe get down to the 30, give us a chance to attempt a field goal.
Third down and 9. There he is, taking off, using the legs, takes a shot from Joel Lanning. And you see he's short of the field goal target line.
Great play by Lanning there. Probably the best play of the night for him. He got beat on the 1 touchdown, but it's for his 14th tackle on the night. He's played outstanding.
I think he had a career high in the first half.
In the open field. Form tackle.
That guy's playing quarterback a year ago. He gets, I mean, Chris Spielman would be proud of him.
Head up. See the targets.
Close the gate.
Here's Joshua Rowland from 49 yards away. As long as 44 for a career high, and it's good. Josh Rowland from 49 yards away makes this a 2-score game. 17-7 Texas. See how Iowa State answers. Maybe with a new quarterback. The latest Jacob Park interception turns into a field goal and 3 points for the Longhorns, who are trying to get back to 500 to end this first month of the season under first-year head coach Tom Herman. Landon Akers is back at the goal line. See if he gets a chance to return this, and he won't. 8 yards deep in the end zone. He will take a knee. Jack Trice Stadium is the home of the Cyclones. It is the only FBS stadium in the nation named after an African-American. Jack Trice was the first black athlete at Iowa State. He actually died due to injuries that occurred on the football field 2 days after a game back in 1923. In fact, he's the second black player ever to compete in major college football. Frank Holbrook out of the University of Iowa was the first player to do it. And that's why this stadium is named after Jack Trice.
It's pretty cool. I didn't know that. Didn't know this was the only stadium named after African-American.
I mentioned going to break there. Would we see maybe a change at quarterback? Did you guys make a move here? Park hasn't just thrown interceptions. They've been bad interceptions, too.
I think you got to think about the entirety of your season here, right? Like, it's not just about one game. If you take him out of this game, I wonder what would happen to him the rest of the year. Now, I know they like Zeb Nolan, the backup, but I would not take him out.
And Park comes out throwing. And completing to Alan Lazard. Park's story really is fascinating. Went to Georgia, transferred out of there to someplace called Trident Technical College in South Carolina. They don't even have a football team. Transferred to Northeast Oklahoma A&M, where he didn't play football. They have a team. He just worked out with the team. And then transferred to ISU. Came down with a case of the mumps, and finally came in late.
They still have that?
Apparently they do. So he has traveled an interesting road, as Jacob Park just throws that one away. And as we mentioned, he's got a 2-month-old daughter who we believe is at the game tonight. So he is an interesting character. We've seen his fire and emotion on display tonight. And we've seen some good throws. Yeah. We've also seen 3 interceptions out of him tonight.
You know, I think the other thing is he hasn't gotten a lot of help from his offensive line. You know, you have to put that out there. This is an offensive line that did not have a whole lot of experience coming into the season. Their left guard played defensive line for 3 years. Their center played right tackle last year. Jake Campbell is their left tackle, had a broken ankle all of last year. They had 1 start coming into this year from this offensive line, so it's been difficult.
Here's Park to throw. They completely abandoned the run game. Down by 10. Under 13 to play. Looking to go to Deshaunte Jones. And there's Boyd at the coverage. Boyd's been involved in an awful lot tonight. Where's Aaliyah? There's Aaliyah. His daughter.
Yeah, it's a brave mom right there.
The good thing she's got the headphones on. You know, they got the pink headphones, so at least she can get a little shut-eye.
Well, you know, she's not listening to the local radio broadcast of the game.
Better than this one?
Yeah.
He's one of 2 players on the team. That's a dad. Gets rid of it. And able to complete to Montgomery out of the backfield. That's his 3rd catch. Again, any way they can get the ball into Montgomery's hands.
Yeah, they got a decision to make here at midfield. 4th and 4. I think they're going to go for it. I still like getting the ball to Montgomery. I mean, just get him the ball. He can make 3 or 4 guys miss.
Iowa State 4 for 4 on the season on 4th down conversions. Chance to stay in this game right here. Park nearly stumbles, and now he is thrown down. First the stumble, then tossed to the turf by Malik Jefferson. And they will turn it over on downs.
Jefferson's one of the most athletic linebackers that you'll see in college football. He hasn't always played with fire. He's been inconsistent taking on blocks and with his toughness at that linebacker position. But I saw a different Jefferson against USC, and we're seeing tonight some impact plays from this young man. If he continues to progress like he is, he's got a chance to be a real early NFL draft pick, and most importantly, a bigger impact player for this Texas defense.
Best thing that ever happened to Malik Jefferson was that man he was talking to right there in Todd Orlando.
Agreed.
I mean, he's going to put him in position to make plays.
Texas will put it on the ground. Jefferson was here a couple of years ago when Texas was shut out. Jefferson said he was leaving the stadium and he was being cursed out by a young fan. And he was asked, well, you know, how young? Guy said he was 8 years old. Then being cursed out by an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
You're in Ames, Iowa. That's rocky experience the last time the Longhorns were here.
Well, he was a Charlie Strong guy, and he, you know, he didn't know if he was going to hang around here when Tom Herman got the job. They had a long talk in February, kind of a heart-to-heart, man-to-man, and it was at that time that Malik Jefferson made the decision to come back, dedicate himself to the program that Tom Herman was going to put into place, and he said it was hard. It wasn't going to be easy. And I remember Tom Herman saying back in spring ball that Malik Jefferson could bench more than he could squat. Okay, now that's not a good thing for a defender, right? Like, he needed to complete his body, fill out his legs, and be a more explosive player, and he's done that.
3rd and 9. Wagner was fired up over that last sack. And Bouchel doesn't feel the pressure from behind. It's Jaquan Bailey who brings him down. And a 4th down upcoming.
Haycock's defense, they've continued to do a great job of keeping everything in front of them, rallying to the football and tackling, but he's mixed in a little bit more pressure in the second half, and he's caught Texas off guard. I've been really impressed with Haycock. All the bad positions that they've been put in defensively, and Iowa State has done a great job of just fighting and figuring out a way to keep Texas from getting in the end zone. You know, your old coach, Lloyd Carr, said he still works
from going back all those years, from the 2 years he spent at Michigan as a grad assistant, the defensive coaching book that he has, the philosophy that they had, he still goes back. He still looks at his notes from years ago, and he gave us a quote the other day. The definition of defense is knowing where your help is.
That's right.
And he says anytime there's trouble, anytime things aren't going well, I go back to that quote and kind of remind the defense about playing team defense.
It's actually printed on the inside of the defensive playbook. So every defender, when they open their book, they'll see that defense is knowing where your help is. And that's a great anecdote that Haycock has taken from Bo and Lloyd Carr, and he says he still does it to this day. It's pretty cool.
As much as everything changes, even in football, that hasn't changed, right? That's been good 40, 50, 60 years. Took a delay of game penalty. Now Dixon will pooch it. It'll bounce. And Texas will down it at the Iowa State 10-yard line. Longhorns offense has gone cold. Last 10 plays have accounted for 1 yard. Cyclones with the football down 10.
Tomorrow night,
I'm a bad, bad man.
Busts into the secondary.
the U and the Blue Devils. Then,
Darnold throws. What a throw.
Trojans and Cougars. Miami versus Duke, followed by USC at Washington State, tomorrow at 7 Eastern.
Our Xfinity College football look ahead. Some of the great games that are upcoming. Again, an amazing doubleheader tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, as always, we cherish these college football Saturdays. So many great games. And you guys will be at Mississippi State on the Plains against Auburn there. Dave Fleming. And
Todd, I think we should tomorrow night watch that game, huh?
I agree. Let's find a nice spot, hunker in Auburn.
I'm worried about SC. I'm worried about SC. There's some things going on with SC, offensive line-wise.
It's not Darnold.
Receiver-wise, they don't have like Deontay Burnett's good, but they don't have a consistent receiving crew. I just think that's a dangerous game for us.
I do too.
Darnold was interesting after the last game against these guys, against Texas. Right after the game was over, he went out of his way to go find Sam Ehlinger and tell him, hey, you played a great game, true freshman. That was kind of neat. That went through Darnold's mind, and that's what he was thinking about. And that'll be a great matchup tomorrow night. The much more experienced Luke Falk, who is pretty close to toppling some of Marcus Mariota's all-time Pac-12 record.
Fox, a guy who's going to get drafted on the second day of the draft and has a chance to develop into a starter in the league. He got benched a couple games in, which was a real surprising move, and since then he's been on fire. So sometimes you push the right buttons.
That surprise you coming from the Pirate?
Chase
surprised me. He benched him for the entire month.
Well, he clearly knew his guy.
Yep.
He got the reaction that he wanted out of him, both in the Boise game and now he's been on a tear. So I wouldn't second guess Mike Leach.
The Pirate. Park able to complete, and they have first down yardage out to Lazard. That's one of my favorite features on game day. They take a little snippet from Mike Leach's press conference every single week.
Great.
He's great press conference. He's a fascinating guy. Yeah. You still have Darnold 1? Do you have Darnold number
Yes,
one?
sir.
Okay.
3 of those interceptions tip balls.
I knew that's where you were going.
Don't stir it up.
Where does Mel have him? Just curious.
Well,
second round.
There were about 3 interceptions dropped too, so I think it all evens out.
All right, both of you.
All right, good to know.
We're going to hold Todd's feet to the fire here.
Please. Sorry, he's won 13 straight games, 67% of his throws.
You know that's a 10:30 game
protection
tomorrow night, right? You guys are going to stay up that late?
Yeah, 3 hours sleep tonight.
See who jumped.
Ball start, number 67, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Jake Campos.
Texas got to be careful here. You can't just, lull into that prevent defense. They've been so good throughout the course of this game, and Todd Orlando's scheme has been good. But you don't want to have a lapse here and make this a 3-point game with plenty of time left on the clock.
2nd and 15 upcoming. Park will get a lot of pressure, has to get rid of it, and does. Back shoulder, and it's caught. Hakeem Butler able to stay on his feet. He juggled that ball. Well, that ball was right where it needed to be.
Jacob Park, you know that the pressure's coming. It's coming from the right side. He's in full retreat. At least he knows it's coming, Todd, and he fades away from it and gives him time to throw the ball down the field.
That's good for 29. Park pumps, trying to go back to Butler. Boyd was right on him with the coverage.
His receivers have dropped a few of those back shoulder throws today. They've had opportunities for big plays and have not cashed in. So that was important for their receiver. You saw him bobble it, wasn't completely sure of it, but pulled it in. And that's a big play. Gives him some life here.
8.5 to go. Iowa State has 2 timeouts, trailing just by 10. The big play wide receiver Lazard. See if they can get it to him. He's got 5 catches for 63 yards. And that's going to go incomplete. Again, it's Boyd. It's like Boyd's covering everyone.
Boyd and Elliott have been huge tonight for Texas defense. Boyd locking guys down man-to-man. Elliott taking advantage of some poorly thrown balls.
They're playing too deep there, and they're letting Chris Boyd just trail right behind. He wants him right in his hip pocket for that throw right there. They say if you're going to throw the back shoulder, we're going to play a safety over top and a corner underneath, and it takes that away.
I know you're high on Lazard as well as a wide receiver.
I am. I think he's a big physical receiver and sometimes inconsistent catching the ball, but has improved a little bit this year.
There's 3rd and 10 underneath the Butler. He's got it, but well shy of that first down marker. You got to think they go for it here on 4th down.
The last 4th down that Iowa State went for it, Todd Orlando decided to bring Malik Jefferson right up the middle, and he's the one that sacked Jacob Park. You got to anticipate pressure here if you're Park.
And again, the Cyclones had been 4 for 4 prior to that on 4th downs on the season.
A 2 deep man under defense.
Tipped ball, and it's caught. It's caught by Butler, but again, he'll be short of the first down. And it looks like they will turn it over on downs.
Just that pressure, right? Pressure on the quarterback, get a hand up, get a tip on the ball, tight coverage. This is a great job, great game plan really by Todd Orlando all night.
The evolving relationship between a head coach and his starting quarterback can be a difficult one at times. Matt Campbell and Jacob Park are still figuring each other out at this point, I guess.
Well, yeah, you know, wonder what Bo Schembechler would have done. You know, he's done that to Jim Harbaugh of all people, right? Every coach is different. Every coach has a different way of handling quarterbacks in particular, right, Todd? And I think Matt Campbell right now, a little bit of tough love. Then you come over, love him up, and this conversation right here is important. There's no more important relationship than the quarterback and the head coach.
Some of it depends on the player, right? And the player's personality.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to lose your quarterback because of one game.
And everybody's watching, and TV networks are replaying that, right, like us.
I think both of them have handled it as well as they possibly can. I've been really, obviously it's been a tough game for Jacob Park. He's been confused and frustrated. That's going to happen, right? You play enough football in a defense that comes in as talented as a good coach in Todd Orlando. They're going to fool you, okay? So, but you don't lose your cool. You don't make it personal with the coach or your teammates. And I've been really impressed with the way Matt Campbell has handled it. Has not lost his temper either.
Absolutely.
As the relationship develops, I imagine that story will develop. That'll be something to be talked about all week long here in Ames. A flag on the field. Laura, something to add?
Yeah, you guys mentioned it, just Matt Campbell being so calm. And even when they've had some blow-ups between Campbell and Jacob Park, he's still, every time, come over to his quarterback and made sure he's okay and offered calming words. Just now, right before he went back out, he was saying, hey, my bad, that's on me as the coach. And he's taken a lot of responsibility to try to take it off of Jacob Park.
Which is a great example. Even if he doesn't think it's his bad, we can deal with this in the film room. We can deal with this on Tuesday and Wednesday in practice, and let's work on the mistakes we had and the miscommunications we had. But I'm not going to get into a fight on the sideline with you and make it into a bigger deal.
There's 3rd and 11. Buechele, he's running all the way. You can see that. Right behind his big offensive line, led by Patrick Vahe, and he has 1st down yardage.
I think that's a great point, Todd. There's a time and a place for everything, right? And the only time where I saw Matt Campbell kind of stiffen, bristle a little bit was when Park came off the field and kind of yelled at him, had some words for him, and it was at that point, grab him by the arm, say, listen, it's not the way we're going to operate around here.
Right.
I'm building a culture here with guys like Joel Lanning and David Montgomery and guys that are unselfish and want to do it the right way. You can't stand for anybody that's outside of that.
Kyle Porter on the run right up the middle. Lanning yet another tackle. So the relationship and the demonstrative way they have been on the field in front of the TV cameras, is that a definite conversation on Tuesday or Monday here? Or is that, hey, let's forget about it and turn the page?
They'll address it to a certain extent. If there's certain things that Matt Campbell won't put up with moving forward, then they will revisit it, and he'll try to drive that point home. Matt Campbell is an excellent young coach. I mean, he's so well thought of that Scott Pioli with the New England Patriots tried to bring him in to be a scout and get him inside their organization. Urban Meyer tried to hire him at Ohio State before he took the head job at Toledo. And so when you talk about Urban Meyer and the New England Patriots, 2 organizations that really get it and have done a great job throughout their careers with Bill Belichick and Pioli and Urban Meyer of recognizing talent and bringing in people who can help, that's impressive, and it says a lot about what Campbell has done as an offensive coach and now as a head coach.
How many people say no to the Patriots and Urban Meyer, right?
Not too many.
They were close a year ago, right? They had 3 really close losses that could have been wins. They had 2 double-digit leads in the second half, fourth quarters of games against Oklahoma State, Baylor, right? That they didn't end up finishing. And then the game against Iowa this year, obviously, they had a chance to win that up 10 in the fourth quarter and couldn't seal the deal. So they're on to something. They're on to something. They just need, I think they need some more consistency, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball.
And they're going to have to continue to recruit well. Yep. And continue to upgrade that area of it, because, you know, let's face it, it can be difficult in Ames, Iowa to recruit. You've got to target people that fit what you want to do, and it's going to be a process. It's not going to be a 2-year turnaround from what Campbell inherited.
Up the middle is Warren, and he's just shy of the 40-yard line. Under 4 to play here in the fourth quarter.
And I think for Texas, you know, we wondered which Texas team was going to show up, the one that played against Maryland, the one that played against SC. And it hasn't been perfect. It's been sloppy tonight, but I think defensively really is where they won this football game. And I think as you look at the rest of the schedule, it's a brutal stretch now. Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State.
I think what we're learning is defensively, they're talented enough to play championship-style defense. I mean, they really, and Todd Orlando's doing a great job. The adjustments he made from that first game of the season, they went out and got embarrassed on that defensive side of the ball against Maryland, to the improvement we saw at USC, holding them to 17 points defensively. I know it's 24 points, but in regulation, 17 points defensively. And then to come out and take this offense that 6 straight games has had over 500 yards and has scored over 40 points in all 3 of its games coming into this one. Really impressive in the improvements there. The offensive line, that's where they've got to improve. They had 19 scholarship offensive linemen coming into the year. And Tom Herman told us he barely feels good about 6 that they can play on Saturdays.
3rd and 6. Buechele's already run for 5 first downs, trying to get a 6th. And they're going to spot him short. And it will bring up 4th down.
But he took a shot there. Now remember, he had that bruised throwing shoulder from the Maryland game. And I know you want to close this game out and you're going to fight for extra yards. He went down awkward there.
They're going to go for it, leave the offense in there on 4th and 1 out of the 35. They've taken 5.5 minutes off the clock this possession.
It's a good sign there. You just run that ball behind that offensive line, get the first down, and they can seal this game. You know, the question for me, Todd, is how is this defense for Texas and Todd Orlando? I kind of give them a pass on the first game against Maryland. You know, it's a new scheme, new personnel, new players. Everything's new. Guys are still nervous. How is this defense, after they get used to Todd Orlando, they have a bye week to kind of regroup, how's it going to look against Oklahoma? How's it going to look against Oklahoma State?
Yep.
Those are the questions that are on in the next month for Texas.
Well, first down and 10. Hand it off to Porter. A helmet comes off. Take a look at our all-state rankings. These are subject to change, as always. Texas would like to see them break into the top 25. A win at Iowa State's not going to do that. You look at some of the numbers and some of the things around the country. Hey, I want to be the contrarian here.
Shocker.
Well, we're praising Texas's offense, but I'm sure there's a portion of the audience out there that's going to say, hey, Iowa State wasn't very good on offense tonight. You know, it's always a combination of the two. But has Iowa State played very well? Has Texas shut them down, or is that a product of Iowa State's offense?
I think Iowa State's offense, where they played against Iowa, who I think is a good football team. I mean, Iowa shut down Penn State, right? So you know, I think this defense for Texas is going to be kind of in the middle of the Big 12. I think TCU is probably a better defense. West Virginia, maybe.
I don't know, man.
But
I don't know. I think
third or fourth.
I think they've got the talent to be up there in the top 2 or 3.
Okay.
I think the scheme, they're finally starting to get it, as you were saying before. I think they've got ability. They're loaded at linebacker. They've got Pua Ford at 95 at defensive tackle. Their secondary is the most improved group from the first week of the season, and we've seen the ability there. I think that they can be a little bit better.
Now, this Texas defense has held Iowa State to 10 yards rushing. Yes, he said 10. And that will be the final play of the fourth quarter. Now, let's call this a workmanlike victory for the Longhorns.
Well, definitely, I think the Big 12 will be a little bit more interesting, right? TCU now at 9, and Texas might scare somebody. Who knows?
Shane Buechele and that Texas offense, they did just enough. Couple of 2-2 schools heading into the second month of the season.